All right, hello and welcome everybody to another dreadful day at the agency. I'm your dark host, Agent Q, and with me today is Yuki.
The darkness fills my soul. Yuki desu.
But yes, today we are going to be going over all of the new anime for summer 2025. This dark feast of depression, anti-socialism, and hopelessness that will gnaw at your soul. Um, I'm not going to do this the whole time, but yeah, for anyone watching, that we are shooting our new darker models for today, as well as this unbelievably dark section of anime. But for what our list is, and those of you just tuning in who are new to our stream, both me and Yuki have gone over all of the new series for the summer of 2025. What these series are ones that are not sequels, prequels, or spin-offs of standing series, but entirely new franchises that have might have previous mangas or other such source material, but are at their very first anime not preview release. That way, you have a good feel of what is going on, what to watch, and what might be your new hot flair. The only exception we do have to our rule are full series reboots. Any show that does have a complete reboot from its canonical origin or its first airing or the beginning of its source material will also be added to this list. Although I do not believe we have anything in that category this season.
Incorrect. We have Hell Teacher Nube.
That one was a little bit that's sketchy because it's also was that a YouTube release too.
Yes, but I mean, we have at least 3 anime this season that are YouTube exclusive releases.
Okay, I might have to add those thumbnails later then because I wasn't quite counting those because I those were so hard to get the officialization on. But if you are sure, we will go back and add them. But Yuki, what are
Yes,
our
they do definitely seem to be official.
all right then? What are our categories for this season?
Well, our categories for this season are skip. This is shows that either we did not watch ourselves and therefore can't give a recommendation on and don't feel comfortable recommending, or that we feel were just so awful that nobody should watch them, that it are probably not even going to grab people who are uh, in the genre that they target, or that are just so bad that truly they should be avoided. Um, Must watch on the far end, opposite end of that spectrum, is shows that even if it's not your usual genre, you should probably check out. It's our recommendation that this is such a good show; it deserves to be seen, and you should just dive into it. With the caveat that we may possibly put some stuff in there that could have some content warnings that you might be averse to, and may want to avoid them on those grounds. 1 episode, 2 episode, and 3 episode categories are literally just the number of episodes that you would need to watch of a show to get a good feel for yourself as to whether or not it is something for you, and whether or not or and get a feel for the show itself, and what you're in for by watching it. These are not a ranking or a anything to do with the quality of the show itself. It's simply, a lot of shows have what they call the 3 episode test, and you will not. Oh, well,
Hey,
no
boss.
problem. I always appreciate lurkers, and thank you so much for joining us.
Everyone's welcome. Just
Um,
be warned to the back half.
yeah. Um, So a lot of shows do have like some kind of surprise twist or something, and you may not really know what it is that you're watching until you've gotten at least a few episodes into it. And so we try to give you that recommendation of about how much of the show you need to watch to actually get a sense of what the real show is about.
Yep. Overall, it's like I said, it would try not to be put off by 1, 2, 3. I move skip up to the top because I kind of realized putting everything in the middle kind of puts on a scale there. But those are definitely never supposed to be recommendations of quality. Just how much you need to watch before you need to skip, need to drop it, or realize this is your genre. That being said, we realize everybody has their own different styles, and as for those go, each of us also have our own different things. I, as Agent Hugh over here, hello, uh, am a massive fan of your mecha, your shonen, and your action thing, while I tend to bounce off modern day slice of life and rom coms.
Yep. I, on the other hand, am definitely the one who covers all of our slice and life and rom com stuff. I tend to shy away from things that are more in the sports genre. Um, Oftentimes, things that are in kind of like the mystery genre I found recently. Um, and things that are more like modern day, like underworld or military kind of stuff. I do watch a little bit of shonen here and there, but it's not quite my specialty. Um,
She
I,
also has a
I
really
still have a
averse.
healthy appreciation for it, but
She
what?
also has a really averse reaction to bad CGI shows.
Oh yes, definitely. CGI will plummet a score's ranking for me for sure, unless it's very well done. On the other hand, um, there's there's a few other things that I'm pretty averse to, and the boys love sort of categories really just never land with me. So I tend to leave those to Agent as well.
Yep, I get all the BL stuff, and although more Yuri this season than anything else, you God the Yuri.
I'm eating it up.
But okay, for this show, we are not only going to rank and talk about the shows, but we're also going to give you a trailer to give a better impression of it. To note for all of our categories down here, one thing Crunchyroll does love to do is give off special titles to anime they, well, at least it used to be they thought would do better. This season, they really went all out. I think over half the shows have special logos on them, so we'll be getting a lot of those out of that. But with that said, oh, did you want to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was going to mention that this is a very stacked season, both in terms of new shows and recurring shows. We are looking today at 37 new series that are covered within the scope of the show, but there are also around 10 additional series that we're not covering, either because they're, even though they would fall into the context of our show, because they're, say, stuck in Netflix jail or some other programs equivalent of that and will not release until the end of the season, or because they simply were not licensed and the only actual way that you can view them is pirating.
Yeah, there's a very particular. I can't believe it's not hint. I don't even know if I want to say it. I can't believe it's not hentai. Like I'm 80% sure it was a porn that was trying to be anti-porn. Oh, and I'm just
A
now.
porn with an anti porn plot. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not even joking. Yes. Um. Oh, I forgot to. Or window Discord share.
Train of thought officially lost.
Well, I'm trying to pop out the window for the trailers.
Oh,
Okay,
gotcha.
there we go. Yep. All right, no, I did got it up. But Yuki, so let's be. Wait, I did have a train of thought. I lost it. Where was I? What was I about to talk about? Something important. All right, if I remember it by the end of the first trailer, I will spout it. But Yuki, please, what is our first show we are starting with today?
All right. Although I've put most of our really dark stuff towards the end, kind of gradually easing into our Adult Swim section where we keep our looter shows and things of that nature, I am going to start us off with just a little surface level taste of the kind of darkness we're in for and seeing this season, with Apocalypse Bringer Mingora. World conquest starts with the civilization of Ruin, and just keep in mind, this is a season where a evil civilization that has apocalypse in the name of the show is one of the tamest things that is on our list.
One of the brighter, and I just remembered what it is. I was gonna say we
Go
do
for it.
grade we do grade on a scale per season. So if a show that you think is top notch is graded a little lower, or talk about a little less than you would think it is, um, It's up against some competition this season, guys. Be a little bit fair with us.
Oh yeah, and that'll probably come up, or that'll probably be more relevant when we do the end of season review, where we're really focused on the rankings. But nonetheless, we do grade a little bit on a curve.
Let us begin.
あれここはもしかしてアトゥ
はい我が王よ
国家運営シミュレーションゲームエターナルネーションズ僕が最も愛したゲームの最も愛したキャラクターここは天国
奇跡と言ってしまえば陳腐でしょうか
アトゥ
はい我が王よ
僕たちの国を作ろう僕と君だけの王国を
まずいことになった。あれは良くない存在だ。邪悪なる存在の権限だ。
All right. How much of this one did you catch, Agent?
I'm caught up to episodes 3 on this one currently. All right. One other thing I also I keep, just one more thing. We generally will just
Yes, Uncle.
we will be staying quiet during some of the trailers. Unfortunately, our VODs do tend to get torn apart from everything we do like to show you guys. So to keep as much commentary in it as possible for you later viewers or in VOD viewers, we will not be talking too much other in the trailers other than the occasional joke or comment. But other than that, yeah, no, I am caught up on this one. Did you have something you wanted to particularly start with on this?
Yeah, so this I think is the very first series I've ever seen based off of a 4X game, which I personally find to be really cool. I don't spend as much time playing 4X games as I would like to because they will consume you entirely. If anyone who's familiar with games like Civilization knows, you can lose days to a single round of a game like that.
I think Stellaris might be the better reference currently, or if you're familiar with Crusader Kings, have been my general crutches at the moment.
All of these fall into kind of the general 4X grand strategy genre, and it's really, really cool to me to see that getting represented. Other than that, I mean, if we're being really objective, the show is relatively average for the most part. You're not going to get any Sakuga or anything like that here. In fact, you're going to get some occasional bad CGI, which I do give them credit for at least them making it be like goofy and have some personality to it when it shows up. But it definitely doesn't look good from the visual perspective.
Yep, that is one thing I wanted to say. That this is a very bog standard isekai feeling. I wouldn't say it's on the bad scale. It's probably closer to the better end of entertainment. As for the 4X thing, I do kind of get a suspicious appearance about this, that we get a 4X isekai that might have been in development or get approved around the same time Nintendo did a big old school 4X game push on their console, or the virtual console.
Interesting.
Yeah,
which 4X game were they pushing? I mean, I know they released Civilization for the Switch 2 and stuff, but
oh no, it's all right. So it's a little side tangent here, but if you think the American market has a fascination with the 4X genre, no, the Japanese beat us to that by a country mile. The amount of 4X games on the Famicom and Super Famicom is outrageous. And
I had no idea.
Yep, and a lot of those
I've never seen any of them on those.
A lot of them weren't ported over to the US or translated until recently, which they did just do a big push on their last virtual console update before the Switch 2 released. Oh, I forget what the series is. I've dipped my finger into some of the newer titles, but yeah, they have a lot of older titles, which the previews of the game they do show off in this instantaneously. Oh, I recognize this. I recognize that. Oh, that's this. So this does feel like this might be a co-brand kind of thing, or they realize that a lot of retro styles were getting pushed in there. As for this series goes, it's wants to be Overlord kind of with a human. It's trying to take on that 4X nation building aspect of it. Like I said, I don't want to say anything too bad about this one because this is probably one of the better trash isekais.
Yeah, it's definitely enjoyable. It's just none of the objective quality on it is super high.
Nope. I think this is a good one episode.
Yeah, I think you pretty much know what you're getting in for off the bat on this one.
I was gonna say maybe 2 or 3 just because you get more world building, but it's like no, that's pretty much you knew what you're getting into right after that.
All right. Next up, we have the spiritual successor to Nichijou, which, if that doesn't excite you, what have you been watching? City, the animation.
A very good morning to you all.
I'm hungry.
Hey, is that a treasure map?
Whoever finds the treasure wins.
Well then, what's the thing that you want to do?
So many choices, so little time. But if you're gonna do something, you might as well do the one that's the most fun. City, the animation!
Admittedly, I didn't manage to get all the way caught up on this one, owing to the fact that it came out really late. They just dumped 3 episodes at once, several weeks into the season.
No, it wasn't even that. It's like episode 1 dropped, I think, earlier than 2 and 3 came out at the same. Because I remember like watching it. It's like, oh, episode 1. I'll wait for the next 2 to come out. And then you text me. It's like all 3 are out like the next day. And I was just like, what? But yeah, if you're familiar with Nichijou, this is if this isn't the same artist and studio and like everything else, or at least tried to ape that style, I would be utterly shocked. If you don't know what Nichijou is, go look it up. It's really good. But
Also known as My Ordinary Everyday Life.
which does just trying to find this on this little cluster of a list.
Now,
down
that
here.
said, from what I've seen so far, I feel like Nichijou was the stronger show. It's possible, though, that this one just kind of hasn't really gotten going enough for me yet. As I said, I didn't manage to catch everything that's been released so far, and I know even with Nichijou, there was kind of this warm-up, slow start period where you're kind of getting introduced to the characters and they're working on like setting up the future meta gags more than they are hitting you hard with humor out of the gate. So we could just be seeing that. The other thing I wanted to mention is I know on like Mother's Basement channel, they talked about how impressive it was that the animation in this is so consistent. And while that is impressive, I've caught on to the fact that that's because it's actually almost all, if not entirely, CG animated. So the reason that the line work and everything is so consistent from frame to frame and from like scene to scene is that these are actually 3D CGI models. But what they've done is pretty impressive there. They've implemented some tech that gives them a lot of control over the exact style of line work that shows up in the outlines and things like that to really make it almost impossible to notice this kind of thing if you don't have a very sharp eye for it like I do. And to make it really have the same kind of feel and flavor that we've seen in past works from the manga artist like Nichijou.
Oh yeah, no, I would not have picked up on CGI on this one if you hadn't mentioned that. Honestly, As
You
far
have
as
to look really close to spot it. And the first giveaway is all the like camera turns and like time freezes that they do. But once you catch on to that, if you look super close, you can tell that they're actually CGI in the most of, if not all of the other scenes as well.
oh no, I believe you. You have the eye for animation. That's why I have to take all the badly animated shows. Other than that, all the characters have been so good. I think there's about a main cast of 7, 8. I want to say between 6 and 10. Not sure how common the gags are going to be with these different characters. The not Yuri love bait in high school girls are fun. The shop owner is fun. The most not autistic. It's maybe a little bit of autism in there. ADHD coded person I think I've ever seen in the show that just like, I need to. Oh, that wasn't a big of it. Let me feel this the other side of this mushroom to calm down. Hey, what if I fell at the top? Now I'm too calm. Let me pray to my Dimmy God to realign myself. All right, now we're better. And it's just like, it's all the little self-care things topped on top on top.
Now, I will warn, in episode 1, there is a subplot that has to do with one of the ostensibly male characters being kind of like peer pressured into wearing a skirt. Your mileage may vary on that. That could be kind of a deal breaker for some. Others may not mind it. But just know that it's there in case that is something that you are worried could be objectionable to you in some way.
It was so funny though. Not the fact that guy wears skirt, but the things that happen around it because of it. But
yeah.
Okay. This is episode, at the very least, it's in episode 1, and you know exactly what you're getting into. No ifs, ands, or buts on that. I don't see too much changing on there. I don't feel like this is going to be the must watch. It definitely needs to be where I need to see the end of it before I can give a high recommendation, but definitely want to keep an eye on for later on.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I would love to see this reach the levels Nichijou did. And if it does, then it definitely will become a must watch. But as of right now, from what I've seen so far, it's not quite living up to its pedigree yet.
All right, what do we got for next on the...
Next up is Secrets of the Silent Witch.
あなたは我がリディル王国の頂点に立つ魔術師七賢人なのですよ。あなたにしかできない仕事があると思いませんか？
無理です。今回はセレンディア学園に潜入されると伺っております。天下の暗殺。どうせ私無能な引きこもりだもん。この術式精神干渉。
時間ねえぞモニカ。どうすんだ？
なぜ第二王子の護衛を沈黙の魔女どもに？
あれは化け物です。
期待なんてされなくていい。友達に親切にするのに理由なんていらないでしょ？
貴族にとって芸術はたしなみ。
聞いているのか、モニカノート。
やはり彼女は無害なコリスタよ。
私は心に誓ったのです。己の全てを尽くし恩返しをすると。よかったら一緒に乗馬の授業を受けてみない？新しいことやってみたい。この学園に来てからいろんな人たちに助けられてる。モニカ！そんな人たちに私は何を返せるだろう。
Pochi, the powerful magic user.
Okay, one thing I did forget to mention with the last one I wanted to also bring up with this one. This has probably been the heaviest season of Cybo dubs I think I've ever seen so far. And I don't mean a couple of weeks behind. This show is being dubbed on time with its release, as well as City.
Yeah. Now, I would argue that this main character is the most autistic coded person that we probably have this season, with her massive special interest in math and her complete inability to engage with people socially. The entire premise here is that she has been, as one of the most powerful magic users around, who learned to silent spellcast because she couldn't talk around anybody else, even to say incantations, been forced into the role of a spy slash bodyguard.
It basically magical medieval high school. It's a fun treat. I love this main character, just how hopeless she is, how oh I can't do this. Goes to room, quiets down, cat. You want me to pet you? Yes, please.
Yes, in this universe, cat pets human. This is not a joke. That's actually what happened.
Overall, for the especially in this season, seeing something so sweet. I was gonna say wholesome, but it's not quite wholesome. It's just kind of sweet, just kind of feel good. Really does help
I
out a
feel like
lot.
wholesome is a fair descriptor as well, yeah.
The plot does need to go a little further on this one. I would say episode 1's not a good review, but episode we gonna say 2 or
I'd say
3.
by episode 2, you pretty much know where it's going.
This
Episode 1 shows a lot of like the character before the main plot gets going, but by episode 2, you're kind of into the main plot of the show.
Yep. This also happens to be one of the first special titles that Crunchyroll has made. Here, to let you know why we use these instead of the sometimes found thumbnails we get, is Crunchyroll does like to make custom logos for some of their anime. The logic and reasoning behind that has completely eluded us. We have done this for a couple of years now, and we don't understand what they pick or why they do it. But they do it, and we do try to make note of that for some reason. But yeah, a solid 2 episodes on Secrets of the Silent Witch.
All right, next up we have The Water Magician.
テレビアニメ「水属性の魔法使い」TBS 他にて2025年7月から放送開始。
All right. Unfortunately, this is one of the ones that I ended up missing. It was supposed to be a watch for today to get a better feel on it, but I got derailed because something that'll be brought up later.
I warned you.
Yeah.
Yes. So this series I'd say is pretty strong, honestly. This is another isekai, but overall quality on this, including the animation, pretty much everything is above average. Several tiers above average compared to what we usually get. It's certainly not like top tier super S class, but it's definitely like comfortable high B low A territory. I think you don't really Like the first episode, if that doesn't grab you, the series might not. But at the same time, you're not really going to get a feel for where the series is going until around episode 3. Because the first 2 episodes are spent kind of like not in the world where, or the part of the world where the rest of the series is going to take place. So the first episode is really just kind of like us learning about the magic system and everything. And then the second episode, we get like our first character introduction. And it's not really until episode 3 that we start to get going, being introduced to the rest of the show's cast and everything.
3 episodes sounds like a good feel on that one, just because you really do need to cast before you can get a feel for the show 90% of the time, because that can really change how you feel about it. Or at least a main cast.
For sure.
I think 3 is on that one. I definitely need to watch this when I get a chance to. It looked good. The trailer looks incredible. Yeah, just we will get to reasons why I missed this one a little bit later on.
Oh yeah, everything about the show is certainly more than serviceable. All right. Next up, we have Solo Camping for 2.
俺は木之倉源34歳趣味は一人でキャンプをすること街を離れ自然の中で自由を感じる車の音もなく騒ぎ声もない俺だけの世界俺だけの時間これこそ俺のソロキャンプ
私草野雫と言います
テントもなく一晩過ごすつもりか
Just gonna throw out there, she is in her panties in the scene and was in the middle of stripping when he came back to his tent.
なんか嫌な予感がする
私が安心してソロができる日までケンさんについていきます
だからソロキャンプがやりたいんだよ俺は
安心してくださいソロキャンプです二人でソロキャンプです二人ソロキャンプ
One of the other ones I also
Right.
happened to miss. This was going to be one of the ones I was going to let you handle this season completely too. So
That completely makes sense. This isn't really your kind of show.
no, I am a creature of the cities, of industrialization and grunge.
Gotta stick with the goth emo grunge crowd, right? So yeah, this is just kind of a cute, wholesome romance for the most part. There is the one scene in episode 1 where he kind of, wanders back into his camp, mind you, where she is in the middle of stripping in front of his fire and catches her in her panties. But for the most part, you're not going to get a lot of like fan service or anything like that in this show. This is definitely heavily sponsored by actual camping equipment companies. There's like a splash page in the end credits that just has like 30 different brand logos for different like camping suppliers, including Thermos. But it's still relatively educational. It catches the spirit of camping. It has some decent like nature backgrounds and things of that nature. And it has a cute little romance going between the two characters, even though like the male lead is kind of feeling like pestered by the younger female lead a lot of the times, especially early on.
I wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
In solitude. Let's be alone in solitude together. No.
It's literally 100%. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty decent series. I think you're gonna know what you're in for on this by episode 1. You could maybe give it a second episode just to get a more of a feel for like the character development arc between the two. But you probably only need episode 1 to make your decision on this show.
All right, so 1 episode.
Yeah, let's call it 1 episode.
All righty then.
Next up, we have With You in the Ring. Thank you so much for the follow.
You've basically front-loaded all the anime I think I didn't watch this season.
Well, that makes sense because I started with the least dark stuff.
うちに来る。
Okay, so despite how it may seem, this show does have some humor elements to it. There's definitely some kind of jokes and gags here and there. They're mostly in service of kind of breaking up the otherwise sort of slow, heavy atmosphere of the show, which I think is really intended to make it's less to make it a comedy and more to really help emphasize those slower, more emotional ma moments of the show.
This definitely gave off the
it's
vibes of a healing anime.
yes, I would say this might be our only healing anime this season.
Oof.
Um,
But it's going to be
yeah.
doing some lifting with this list. Ugh.
It is certainly not enough to counterbalance the rest of what we've got. But the characters are cute. If you like a nice, slow story where you can have characters that are literally just enjoying the sound of the rain together, then this is going to be the show for you. And you never do quite, as far as I can tell, get to fully explicitly know if any of the characters truly believe that this thing is a dog or not, when it is clearly a tanuki.
I will say it weirdly enough, pet raccoons have been becoming a bigger thing. So just having a pet tanuki doesn't feel too far off nowadays.
No, it really doesn't. Especially not when the pet tanuki in question is capable of human writing.
So I'm guessing a one episoder here.
Yeah, that one episode ought to cover it for that show. I think you're gonna know what you're in for by the time you get through episode 1 with pretty high certainty.
Yep. Ooh, this is a big title. Yeah, all these bigger titles are going to make this list and picture stretch like crazy, aren't they? Dang.
Yeah, they're gonna make things a little wonky.
All right. Final post for anything you want to watch this at the end will be put up on both Discord servers and social media links, which should pop up throughout the stream if you are curious to follow it. But
next up, we have quite possibly the first show that you covered and I didn't. Detectives are crazy. Or detectives these days are crazy. Sorry.
なんでよそ者を村さ入れた
村のために死ぬこの館が陸のことをつまり密室になるってことです楽しい夜になりそうですね
それは俺に仕事を依頼しているのかい
これは君たちなら来てくれると思っていたよ
3年前一体何がすみません扉壊しますよ
That's a terrible way to break down a door.
おじさん
これでも俺昔は名探偵って呼ばれてたんだよ
おじさんの仕事が減ったのってさ体じゃなくてセンスの衰えのせいじゃない
探偵ってのは耐えの仕事なのよ
大丈夫昨日古畑全部見たから
シャーロック・ホームズって知ってるかい彼がある作品でこんなことを言ってたんだちょっとど忘れしちゃって出てこないか
みんなまで言うのアッセ ほらマシラよろしくな丸メガネ
待っててください南雲先生
女子の大根身ぐるみ全部剥がされてるあれも日常の出来事です私の脳内にはすでに1000の手が浮かんでいるのさうるせえブス誰がブスだ
腕が鳴るだろう名探偵。
なんか探偵っぽいっすね姉さん
膝を狙い左右好きな方を舐めたまに
Wait, what?
前より楽しそうになったね
蹴り飛ばす
あの子のおかげかな
まあ退屈はしないけどな。
Is that supposed to be the singer?
Yes.
Wow.
So, Yuki, I can understand why you skipped this, and I can understand why some people might be like, oh, it's another No, this is a detective anime in the same way Gitama is a slice of life anime. This is a off-the-walls, old-school, high-energy gag anime through and through. The amount of classic panel cuts to old cell animation styles is outrageous. The gags are non-stop and joke after joke after joke, to the point where it's like, I think I texted you about one of the things that kind of just hit me over the head was like, oh, I used to be so good. I'm over the hill. My body's breaking down. The slightest move wrecks me. Like, how old are you? I'm 35.
See, I thought you were just talking about yourself. I didn't even realize that was supposed to be a quote from the anime.
Yeah, no, this is a high intensity gag anime, and I mean old school gag anime. If you like those slapdash crazy mother, where is this on my list? Pop Tutor, it's right here, Lords, New Saga. That's
I definitely find myself interested in it, having seen the preview. I had intended to at least check out an episode of it. Like, my goal was to get through at least like one episode of everything if I could, but there just wasn't enough time to hit all of them.
Yep. That being said, this is a crazy nutty show. I got like I was coming in because there are other actual detective shows this season. This is not a detective show. This is old school gags done in modern day style with modern day sensibilities, clashing up against old school stuff. The writers of this very much knew it. This is another one if you wanted a palate cleanser for this season to jump into. Anything covering more is just going to be going over tropes, gags, and comedy concepts that this series just bakes into itself from episode 1, setting up all of its characters. One thing I will say, this is closer to City and how it does its format. Every 20-minute episode has basically 3 distinct parts to it. So if you're just wanting to watch it for a bit, you could do a quick watch on those. It is still up as 20-minute episodes on Crunchyroll. So full episodes there to be watched. So far, it was a nice palate cleanser.
I can imagine so. Okay, next up we have See You Tomorrow at the Food Court.
Food court でまた明日
Yeah, it doesn't give you much in the preview, does it? But that's fine because it's not about anything. This is one of those slice of life shows that's kind of like a manzai comedy act, where you just have like 2 people hanging out together and chatting about random stuff as the main driver of the show, with occasional gags thrown in. And in this case, lots and lots of product placement, especially from KFC and Baskin Robbins so far. Not sure who else might show up down the road.
Oh, don't forget
But
all
the
of the
characters are
Yuri bait
cute.
either.
Yes, the characters are cute. There's definitely some Yuri bait going on here. And it's certainly worth a watch if that kind of style of show is your thing. You probably know what you're getting into by the end of episode 1.
Oh yeah, definitely say that there. Okay, the one other thing I wanted to say about the Yuri bait shows this season, what is it with like the big boobed girl? One of them always being big boobed in like a white top, but not like showing off too much on it. It's just something. It's like there are two big instances of it, but I'm just like, that's kind of weird that happened twice.
Well, I think I can't really say for sure, right? Because I don't have enough context for that trend. But my suspicion is that there's always the one character that's meant to be the self-insert, just as there is with, the typical protag coon. And then the rest of the girls are intended to be the, actual Yuri bait or the harem that surrounds that self-insert character.
So it's kind of fallen into that. All right. That makes a little more sense. Hopefully you guys didn't hear too much from me bumping my desk and almost dropping a monitor, but there. Moved around a little bit.
Didn't really come through on my end, at least.
Oh, thank God. I didn't want that to be obnoxiously loud in the middle for no reason. But yeah, I think we're getting closer to the end of our feel-good stuff, though. What do we got next?
Next up, I think you were the one. I certainly didn't cover this one. Hopefully you did. Is Let's Go Karaoke.
Oh.
あの日はなんだか蒸し暑く、息苦しかったのを覚えています。僕はずっと誰かに見られているような気がしてなりませんでした。
カラオケ行こう。歌がうまなるコツ教えてくれへん？
歌？
歌。
よ
ー。俺はずっとこの一曲で勝負してきて。
音程外れてますよ。
ほんま？
ヤクザ怖っ。困ったことになりました。
家どこ？
ヤクザに家は教えられません。
車に乗ったらもうアウトや、里見くん。
I'm getting some I Need an Adult vibes from that show.
Yeah, unfortunately, this happens to be the last airing show in the season, as in it's only on episode 1. Preview was doubling audio with... How? It's only coming through one source. I will...
Are you hearing that on my stream side, or really on my side?
Okay, if it's coming through double on yours, then there's nothing I can do to fix that. That has to be because I'm getting straight from you on that end on the Discord side.
Has this fixed it? Talk a little more, Agent.
All right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Looks like he says it does. Well, no. The thing I was going to say is this show, while everything else is, the vast majority of the season is on episode 4 with this week. This is on episode 1. This was supposed to be watched today, but unfortunately, it kind of was supposed to be one of my last watches. That kind of got kicked to the side. Another bit there. What was this one called again? Singing.
Let's Go Karaoke.
Let's Go Karaoke. Where did I put you? There you are. I think we might have to throw this one in skip from just how
how neither of us got to watch it.
Yeah, we both do like to be fair, but this is on a seasonal rotation, and these companies they have set up this system. If they want to play by their own rules, they need to play in their own rules. If not, you wind up with shows that come in at the very end before we get a good chance to dig in and cover it, or with something else happening last minute when we do try to do this. Because while I was tempted to push this back another week just to try to make sure we could cover everything. We're already
starting later than usual than we would for this.
Yeah, and I think I might have to be a little more strict both on myself and on these shows if they want to keep doing this to us, because this is their system and they need to abide by their rules. But
yeah, all the starting halfway through the season stuff is getting problematic.
I mean, if everything changes, we might have to change our format, but when it's only a couple things, it is.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I have a lot of that kind of calibration to deal with.
It is something we need to work on. Might need to change our format, but other than that, we are doing fairly good. But okay, let's see if the double audio is fixed. What do we have next,
All right.
Yuki?
Oh yeah, well, so that's because it's detecting me smiling, and the smiling state has the mouth open a bit. Thank you. Appreciate the info and feedback.
Yep,
always helpful.
You.
Okay, next up we have a short form anime, which we don't always cover here, but since this one, well, it has a few notable things about it, one of which is it's getting a simuldub. It's also a YouTube exclusive release, and it's done by a very, very small team. All these things kind of make it interesting, and so I wanted to include it in the list. So next up we have Milky Subway, the Galactic Limited Express, which also, for those of you who are familiar, you might catch the references that title is making.
だからアシそもそもドライブ行きたくなかったんだって。シーがアシのこと誘ったからこういうことになったんじゃん。
二人とも元気だ。
あいつなんか銀河系まで。私はマキナ。千春のせいで犯罪者にされたサイボーグ。
私は千春、マキナの暴走に巻き込まれた悲劇のヒロイン。
巻き込まれたはおかしいわ。芸人作ったの C なんだから被害者みたいな言い方を。
私は良子、クソガキ二人の子守りをさせられてる悲しい子。
暴言吐かれたわ警察に。
はい、もううるさい。最後まとめて。
新番組銀河特急ミルキーサブウェイ、
銀河の果てまで出発進行。いや、涼子ちゃんも言ってよ。
やだよ、そんなの恥ずかしい。
涼子ちゃんって知らない恥ずかしいセリフ忘れてんの
That was a nice short little trailer. I need to add this file though, so give me 2 seconds here, because I was not originally planning on keeping that one in there, but
Gotcha. I did manage to catch a couple episodes before we started though, because the show is very, very short form. We're talking 3 to 6 minute episodes.
Yep. And this is, like Shuki was saying, a YouTube drop, which I have tried. For a while there was trying to be adamant with, oh, these are, can be exploited, but then YouTube and other streaming platforms getting a bit weird with how those released and if they're official, or YouTube themselves kind of wrapping it around into something else, kind of dropped it. But as far as both I and Yuki have confirmed, this is an official YouTube series, so good on them. Hopefully
Yep.
support the original thing. What can you tell us about this, though?
So, this, it's, I'm not sure how to put this. You definitely know what kind of series you're getting into with the show by the end of episode 1, which isn't a very difficult investment because it's only a slightly over 3-minute episode. But the general premise here is the characters you saw have all been sentenced to civil service in space jail because the jails are all full, and the service that they have been sentenced to is to clean the Galaxy Milky Express, which is a intergalactic subway line. Unfortunately for them, well, I don't want to spoil anything because that all happens in episode 2. But suffice to say, it's a cute little, kind of character-driven show with a little bit of plot going on as well. And you get a little bit of cute comedy in there. This is a show where the entire credits for the show fit on a single screen. So when I say that this is a small team, like literally most of the animation and everything was done by like one person.
Oh Jesus. So is this gonna be a 2 or a 3 then?
I would say even a 1 is fine for this one. Once you get through episode 1, you have a general feel for the characters and the style of show. And if that doesn't catch you, then the show itself probably won't either. But again, one of the really notable things about this show is even though it is this like little YouTube release from a small team, it is being simul-dubbed in like, I don't know, like 10 different languages or something.
Yep. Which, if you've seen the latest reports for both Crunchyroll and I think Disney,
Netflix, I think you're referring to as well.
Yep. Dubbed anime is the preferred watch, so having these studios get on the simul dubs train has been nice. Mostly, we like being able to watch stuff on the side.
Thanks, Gigu.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Because
All right. Next up, we have the private tutor to the Duke's daughter.
仕事なら一つ当てがある。僕の旧友が娘さんの家庭教師を探していてね。
公女殿下の家庭教師とはまた随分難易度の高い。アレンです。公女殿下。
はじめに言っておきます。私を殿下とか様付けで呼ぶのは禁止です。
その服では寒いでしょう。
すごいです。こんな簡単に。
末娘のティナには魔法の才が全くない。
ご安心ください。僕はそのためにここにいるのですから。
先生はちょっと意地悪ですね。納得がいきません。すみません。私のことはエリーと呼び捨てにしてください。不公平です。意地悪です。ひいきです。かわいい。手紙は毎日とは言わないけど毎週は書くこと。いいわね。何度やってもダメでした。
では模範例を見せましょう。
いつか私もあんな風に魔法を使いこなしてみたいって。
あなたに意志があり前に進もうとしているなら必ず道はあります。
いつか私はあなたに追いつきます。覚悟してくださいね。くっつきすぎです。ハレンジです。
ああ、はい。
All right. So this is one of those kind of shows that features like younger characters that are sort of forming a pseudo harem around a slightly older protagonist. So content warning there. If that kind of thing offends you, give this show a pass. But it's not something where you're going to see anything explicit. There's not a lot of like actual ecchi or anything here. These are more like Emoto style, cute moe younger characters that like must protect and give head pats kind of vibe.
Yeah, but the biggest note on this series for this season is the fact that it's a fantasy show that isn't horribly dark. It's kind of
and isn't an isekai.
I mean, we have what, 3 isekai this season overall? I believe it was very light. And why am I not seeing?
Yeah, you're right. This was relatively light on the isekai this time around. Maybe there's more than 3. Let's see. Well, we'll do the math later.
Yep, I'm just not seeing this on my list. I should be on here though.
Is it maybe right to the left of the Ugly Mug show in the 3rd line? Yeah, is it that one?
No, that's City Under Construction, Scooped Up, Private Rebirth, Atomic. Did I not grab this one?
You may not have grabbed this one. Oh no, there it is. Second to last line, far right. It's got one of the special titles, Private Tutor to the Duke's Daughter.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, one of the longest ones too. How the hell did I miss that?
Yeah. Because you missed it, I was thinking it was one of the like regular thumbnails.
No, it's just blurry and kind of it make maybe more sense on its normal background. But another private one that wasn't done great. Um, yeah, fun slice. No, I want to say fun, but slice not so. It's a
Cute
relaxing.
moe fantasy romp.
Yeah, with maybe some darker tones later on with family and legacy going on, but overall, it's especially in comparison to the rest of the season, it's relaxing. It's nice. It's cute. It's a little harem-y, but more along the lines of than the way Negima or Tinchi would be.
Yeah, that sounds reasonably accurate. All right. Yeah, and I think one episode is probably fine for this show. You're not gonna like, yeah, there's some plot going on and stuff, but it really doesn't matter. The main thing is the character interactions, and you're gonna know most of those by the end of episode 1.
Yep, this is definitely you know what you're getting on the cover ones.
All right. Next up, we have Scooped Up by an S-rank adventurer.
ぼーっと歩いてんじゃねえよバカ野郎。
勇者のハレンだ。
これぐらいちょろいもんだって俺は強いから。そろそろ蹴りをつけるぜ。
石が魔力を持っているのですか？
これが冒険者の戦い。
白魔導士なんて誰でもよかったんだ。
そう、私たちは S ランク冒険者よ。
さすがは S ランク冒険者。次元が違うんだな。
どうしてもフリーの白魔導士が必要なの。
2つの行動は1人ではできない。仲間だからできるんだ。あなたと行きたい。
この子には私の過ちを繰り返させない。
So this is pretty much your bog standard. I can't believe it's not isekai trash.
Yep, with two of the tropes I have learned, I am really leading on to hate. One of nobody in real life thinks a healer is a worthless character in a party. Get this. I don't know why this is coming from in Japan. Anime developers. Nobody thinks this. Look at any MMO queue. The healer is generally the most sought after person. Dear God. The other one, a little less ranty on, is the this character is really good, but doesn't have any confidence. But they do balance out with a lot of people who do come out around him, trying to build him back up. Like, no, we can't do this, guys. This is like that's crazy, man. How are you doing this? That's special. That's very special. What?
Yeah. Also, it helps a little bit that they do go into how this character is not simply like sheltered the way some of the characters usually are. They certainly are. Like, they were cloistered away from society with literally only them and one other person for like most of their life. But they're also heavily traumatized by the training that they received, and then also by their first experience stepping into society, only reinforcing that. And so that makes it feel a little more believable that, you know, they have all these self-confidence issues. But on the other hand, a lot of that, like that first party that he was in is just like comical villainy, and that makes it harder to take that part seriously.
Yep. Overall, though, this is, once like I said, another I can't believe it's not isekai. Lighter end. If I know it doesn't seem like it yet, but I keep bragging about palette cleansers and lighter stuff. This has been one of the nicer ones. One episode,
and that's even with all the trauma.
Oh my God, yes. Episode 1 gives you a pretty good feel for what's going on. You get better character interactions. Episode 2 and 3, but you know what you're getting into by the start of this show.
Sounds about right to me. All right. Next up, we have Dealing with the Mikadono Sisters is a Breeze.
俺はただの凡人。あの3人は
探偵が集結
生まれつきの天才だ。
やあ、転校生。
帝の三姉妹。
才能ゼロの凡人。
気づいてしまった。天才と凡人は違うんだ。え？
え？
ここで何してやがんだ。華麗なる天才姉妹と一つ屋根の下に住むことになりました。今日から帝の家のお世話になります。
ポンコツを引き取るとは追い出しはしねえけどよ。
世話なんてごめんっす。
みんなで朝ごはん食べる。
モーニングルーティンだ。
ご飯いらないんですか？
いらねえ。どけ。
もう諦めるっす。
諦めません。俺はちゃんと向き合いたいんです。だから待って。いってらっしゃい。これは凡人綾瀬優と天才帝の三姉妹が家族になるまでの話だ。
悪くなかった。
楽しみにしててください。
If I remember right, this is from the same creator of the quintessential quintuplets.
You know, I was trying to figure out a good thing to compare this to, and like that was the show I kept trying to think of. This is this was a fun little watch.
Wow, that's saying a lot, because these kinds of slice of life harem shows really usually do not click with you.
They generally don't. The main character is kind of winning me over with how much, like, no, I'm not a fucking major famous person. I'm just trying to go to this school. I just happens to be a really good school that I got accepted to. Quit pushing and bullying me. I like it when they state their position more. The milquetoast generic main character that you're supposed to reflect onto is, I think, where I get a lot of my gripes from. This guy has a lot of personalities. It's the stay-at-home caretaker kind of personality, but just having one does a lot for me.
Yeah, I think also the female protagonists all having like these hidden flaws that they don't show at school gives them a lot of, you know, humanity as well, and really makes them feel more like real fleshed out human beings. And that probably goes a long way as well.
Yeah, a lot less pure tropey and a lot less that. I know when I was describing this to a friend of mine, I think it was actually Kiyu. I was calling this a harem show, but the more I've gotten into it, the less I feel like that, and more this is just a pick your own adventure romance.
It is technically a harem. It's sort of that as well, but I think secretly, or even not so secretly, under the hood, it's a found family show.
Yeah, that could also be a very much it too, which I would love to see more of those. You don't always need to do romance, people. Sometimes just found family can be good. It can be comforting. It can be a lot.
I mean, that's a big part of romance as well that often gets glossed over.
True, but with this show, you know what you're getting through on episode 1. Episode 1.
Oh yeah.
Lock, stock, and keep. You know exactly what you're going to be on here. This does come. I would say it's, once again, I generally bounce off these shows, and this is probably one I'm going to kick over to the Yuki can take care of it list. But I deeply did not mind it a bit. I watched this one.
That's a rave review coming from Agent. All right. Next up, we have Betrothed to My Sister's Ex.
私が主役になれるわけがない。現実に期待はしていない。だから好きも嫌いもわからない。どうして私は醜く生まれてしまったのだろう。
すみません。そこのお嬢さん。俺はもっと君と話がしたい。君の好きなものを聞かせてくれ。
好きなものを選ぶって感覚がよくわからない。私が選んでいいわけが。
足りないものは何
ずなのに。
Did you catch any of this one, Agent?
Okay, yeah, that's one thing I wanted to say before we got dug into this one. What the hell is with that green glow? She looks like she has a chroma key around her that wasn't turned up high enough.
Right. You were asking me about this, so yeah, you did watch at least a little of this show. I believe I responded to that question previously, but to address that a little bit, most likely that's either an outline style that is sometimes used in order to create like a contrasting effect, or I forgot the other thing. Or it's supposed to actually reflect like highlights on the character's hair, but if so, that feels really weird and unnatural.
It's only the main girl, and it's just I wouldn't bring up the comparison with the chroma key if it wasn't for the fact that I had to redo your model setting up for this stream. And at one point, you actually had that same kind of green glow because I had to readjust your chroma key, and it just like it immediately clicked what it was with her finally with me. And I'm sorry, that little bit bugs me. Other than that,
yeah, I really don't think it's the chroma key. It appears to be there intentionally, and like it replaces some of the other lines. Like you can actually see darker lines suddenly stop and then transition into that green glow effect.
Yep. Other than that, this is Cinderella. This is Cinderella post living with Prince Charming.
Yes, absolutely agreed. And the show makes no secret of that. It shows you those glass slippers, basically beating you over the head with the fact that this is a Cinderella-inspired tale right out the gate. And this is we're starting to ease into our darker shows now. The main character here starts off suffering a lot of abuse at the hands of her family. The only family member who's actually nice to her is the sister, the older sister. So it's a little bit of a change up there, because it's not the wicked stepsisters that abuse her. It's her still living father and mother. And her older sister is like actually really super cool, even though she's the one that gets all the special treatment from the family. And then
don't
spoilers.
Yeah, on that.
She dies.
Yeah. So there is a bit more going on in Betrothed to My Sister with that title there. It does make more sense when you watch it. I don't want to spoil too much because this is a show I am actually enjoying a bit. I have had to skip around a little bit more when it comes to episode 2 and 3, just because that shy utterly can't say anything without like going into a mild panic attack and having a breakdown with any kind of confrontation, which out of all of the shows I think I've watched in about the last year, this is the only one where I can completely understand it and it doesn't feel forced or anything like that or off. This is somebody that's like, oh no, I completely understand why you just cannot talk here or do not want to be confrontational or argumentative with anything else.
Yeah, the self-esteem just is not there to communicate with others effectively.
That being
said, but yeah, agreed. 1, maybe 2 episodes is definitely enough for you to know where the show's going, what's going on with it.
Actually, I'm going to put this in 2 just because you need to get a lot more of the direct character interactions. 1 is a lot more of the setup on this one, I would say. It does give you a good feel for it, but to know what's going on, I think episode 2 would be a little bit better.
It is true that the main plot doesn't truly get going until episode 2.
But like I said, you do have a good feel for episode 1, but like I said, I think it's episode 2 is you're going to feel a lot more of what the episode to episode reality is going to be like, because that did slow down a lot compared to episode 1.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. Next up, we have Hell Teacher Jikoko Sensei Nube. Sorry. This is the 2025 remake And just a quick heads up before we go into this trailer, the original version of this show was from the anime OVA era, and it was part of the era of shows where you were going to see a lot of fan service with middle school girls, oftentimes for no apparent reason. From what I understand, that kind of content is not included in the re-release, but I'll explain a little bit later why I can't fully verify that.
宇宙天地ヨガ力量幸福群馬号来諸行個人差し処方体孫が号令資材所今日から担任になるヌエのメイスケだ気軽にヌーベイと呼んでくれ
先生は不思議な力があるって聞きましたが実際に見せてもらえませんかもしかして幽霊
そんなのいるわけねえだろ
ルーベ大変なの
生徒の期待には必ず応えねばな
ヌーベ助けてヌーベ
俺の生徒に手を出すな待ちわびたよヌエのメイスケ
雪目です先生のフィアンセのなんだありゃ怖いのだ
心配すんな俺に任せろ
先生って
やっぱマジモンだったんだ
ねだから言ったでしょ
我が左手に封じられし鬼よ今こそその力を示せディスク先生背中にまだついてるものがありますよはいごれ最低なんで
So am I correct that you didn't catch any of this one, Agent?
Nope, and I gotta add the thumbnail really quick, so hold on.
Sure. Okay. The thing is, this anime is a direct release to the It's Anime powered by wrough on YouTube. That is the official release, as far as I can tell. And it's one of like 3 series that fall into that bucket this year, or this season, I should say. I imagine from the looks of it, we'll probably see more of that in the future, because this platform seems to kind of be like taking off as its own anime business model within the YouTube space. I don't know if they're getting some YouTube sponsorship there or what, but the one weird thing about this particular show is I was only able to find episodes 1 and episodes 5 actually readily available on YouTube. Episodes 2, 3, and 4 seem to be missing for some reason, and I'm not sure if that's because they're doing like the Crunchyroll subscription thing, where they like give you only the latest episode and like maybe the first episode as an appetizer, but you have to like pay to see the rest of the show, or what's going on there. If maybe like there was some kind of regional content blocking on some of the other episodes or what. But consequently, I was really only able to watch episode 1. It is cool to see a series that has like that older animation style making a resurgence. Content-wise, obviously we're starting to get a little bit darker here, visually and plot-wise. This I feel like is really more your kind of show than it is mine, Agent.
Yeah, I think I've actually watched the original OVA, and it's like the minute I saw that hand, it's like, oh, I know this show. This thing is referenced all over the goddamn place.
Exactly. Yeah, it was very big in its time and era. And I'm pretty sure I don't think I've seen the entire OVA series, because like that was back in the days when finding the entire OVA series was difficult. But I've definitely seen at least some of it, as I recall. And they really like amped up the like violence and like fighting aspect of it to kind of compensate for removing the fan service, as far as I can tell. But I can't really comment on it too much beyond that. I'm forced to give it a 1 episode because I can't watch beyond 1 episode currently.
Yep. For shows like this, we will definitely try to break it more down in where, why, and how to watch these shows in our final wrap up reviews at the end of the season. So stay tuned for that, and we will give you, at least we should be able to give you our final location on where to get it and how to watch it.
Indeed. All right. Next up, it's going to be telling that a show that is literally based off of the Cthulhu mythos is towards the start of our dark stuff this season. So next we have Necronomico and the Cosmic Horror Show.
I just love saying that. honestly.
ニコちゃんライバーなんでしょ
今を変える突破口が必要だ。私はメガロックス社雨の村圭と申します。皆さんを幻の世界へとお連れします。
学校を舞台に逃げ切れ
ルールが一方的。
興奮されてらっしゃる
ゲームデザイン間違ったんでしょうか。
さあそれではゲームスタートです。
エイタ君くっしょー。よっしゃー鍵ゲット。素敵なことしかないわ。ネクロノミコのコズミックホラーショー。2025年7月放送開始。
All right. A quick note about this show. At least when it initially released, this show had a problem where it had some really, really awful AI-generated subtitling that, in many cases, misspelled proper character names from the Cthulhu mythos and stuff like that, even. It was real garbagey, and that's at least part of what put me off of this show.
Oh, okay. There was some of the names I was kind of wondering on that one. My reading spelling bit on that one kind of autofill anything that's incorrect to begin with, so I tend not to notice it. It could still be going on with that. I hope it's not. It might be something to do with weird copyright on that. I'm hopefully not too sure on that one, because I know a lot of companies have been trying to ground up the Cthulhu mythos and stuff recently.
From what I hear, the official reason from Crunchyroll is their subcontractor violated contract by providing AI-generated subtitling and was fired as a result of it.
Oh, so this was just that. Okay, that makes more sense. It was a corporation thing. Kind of ironic, honestly, with this show, since it's a bit about how corporate, pushing develops into, hey, let's make a dark pact with evil elder gods. What could go wrong? Profit! Which is kind of a nice take. If you wanted to do, this is a death game show kind of bit from the title with a very Cthulhu and elder god or HP Lovecraft styling put into it. I'm in love with this damn thing, not just because it involves streamers and a bunch of other concepts on that, but just seeing people break themselves down and be broken over this elder god game show, which really is beautiful. Because if you're familiar with those kind of concepts, it's not just, oh, these elder gods are going to drive you mad. It's no, the elder gods and the people around you and your own faults are going to drive you mad. They are the wedge that cracks you open. And it really does get that right.
And again, throwing out there, Lovecraftian death game ranks towards the low end of our darkness this season.
It's I don't even know where we're gonna need to start that warning at, but yeah, it's gonna be on there. Any other thoughts you would have for this one, Yuki?
Not particularly. I mean, I had some of the same interests in this one as you did, but I think ultimately I'm probably dropping the show and leaving it to you in the interest of time, and also because I was really put off by like the subtitling and how things just kind of weren't making sense in the early episodes.
Yep. That being said, I think at least episode 2s need to be watching this one. episode 1 sets up the premise, but you don't really get into the shows proper until episode 2, which starts to give you more of the characters' craziness, mindfulness, and how they're going to break and be broken, it feels like.
Yep. Incidentally, we're closing in on about midway through. I think maybe after this next one, if it's all right with you, maybe that'd be a good time for us to take a 5-minute bio break and come on back. But next up, we have Kamitsubaki City under construction.
Oh, great.
続けて。歌うんだ。
不可解空間は人の欲望を肥大させる普通の人間だった強い願いや絶望の欲望になるんでもカフちゃんの命が一番大事だよね。魔女の娘はあなたたちしかいらっしゃらないのです。魔女の娘
Wow, that was a crappy trailer.
Yeah. I have a couple of notes going into this one. I have learned that this series is in fact an official tie-in with a VTubing agency, and that basically part of the reason the show is a little bit impenetrable and hard to get into is that they expect you to, going into the show, know all of the lore surrounding the VTubers that are represented in the show.
Okay, I was not aware of the VTuber aspect, but this is also a video game.
Yes, and the video game is also a tie-in to the VTubers.
Okay, yeah, because the things we were gonna break up were, one, this definitely got slapped to me right away for its horrendous CGI. Only on the main characters too. It's like the background CGI, like a lot of the other like monster stuff, isn't too bad. All of its main characters are just, they feel like they rip their models for the goddamn show itself, it seemed like.
I think they may actually have done that, is the thing. And yes, when I was initially watching it, I had the same problem where, like, yes, the backgrounds looked great, and that only made these, like, poorly rendered main characters feel all the more out of place.
Which, for a marketing standpoint, if you're trying to not get people whiplash when they go back to the streamers, which, okay. Other than that, I had initially thought this was some kind of like idol anime tie-in, but knowing that they're all independents, I imagine they all have a bit to do with music too, from how this show goes.
Yes, they are VTuber idols. That is accurate.
Okay, that's about where I had my thoughts on that one. As for story, another post-apocalyptic thing about people turning into monsters and witches and their familiars fighting them. It's
yeah, about half of humanity dies in like episode 1, and again, this is still kind of on the low end of our darkness.
Oh, darkness, my old friend. But overall, this doesn't have to be thrown into the skip because it's not insufferable right away. We will definitely see where this goes in the back end of the season, especially when it's lined up against so many other shows, if this gets thrown into a skip category. But for now, I think 2 episodes are what you need to get on this one. Episode 1 sets up a lot of premise and a lot of basic character stuff. Episode 2 is when story starts happening.
Be prepared for a lot of proper nouns, by the way.
Yep, I can argue on that one. But with that, we will be taking a short break. Everyone feel free to grab a drink, grab a snack, and we will be back shortly. All right, everybody, we are back with this darker season to come forth.
My eye cannot contain the darkness.
I think it's canned this season with a nub, but or what else we got going on?
All right. So next up, we're actually taking a short break from our delve into the darkness of the human psyche, and taking a little jaunt into the soft, etchy kind of categories.
Oh, yeah,
So these are shows where you're not going to see any actual nudity or anything like that, but whew, that does not mean that there is nothing sexual here to be seen.
right,
First up, we have
I was gonna say, what do we have first up?
Ruri Rocks.
Yuri Rocks.
どう
Yes.
した座り込んで。体調が優れないのか？
Ooh.
石好きなんですか？
調べるのが好きだ。日々は似ていても石の顔はまるで違う。
この石は私の宝物です。きっと世界で一番綺麗な石なんです。
石の読み方が理解できれば、その文脈もたどることができる。
砂の中に見える世界は広いのかもしれない。
さらに先を自分の目で確かめたい。その意識があれば、得られるものはこれからもきっとあるはずだ。一緒に行くかい？
行きます！
引き潮の時だけ現れる秘密の最終場所だよ。
一番お宝の匂いがする！あった！どう？サファイアは？
行動力はもちろん大事だが、予備知識があれば効率が上がる。
こんなにたくさん取れるなんてね。そんなの目に見えてる一部だよ。もっとたくさんあるはずだよね。ナギさん、私も自分の目で探したい。誰も知らないけど綺麗な石が取れる場所、私がそこを発見するの。
未だ産地不明の鉱物があるんだ。ルリも挑戦してみるか？
やる！
新しいつながりは新しい発見をもたらしてくれる。時代を超えて届いた歴史、一つくらいなら持っていてもいいかも。
また一緒にやろうよ。鉱物採集。
ルリは石の向こうに何が見える
Did you catch any of this one, 18?
I have seen the first 2 episodes, and let me say, this is the most Yuri show about rocks since Steven Universe.
Yes, this is very much cute girls doing earth science things. It is absolutely gorgeously animated. Like, we're talking almost Ghibli level animation here. It's really not a stretch to compare the two. The backgrounds are amazing. The characters' feet have suspiciously good animation quality.
Weirdly, I wouldn't know. I have to double check out all the facts and so on, but it also comes off as incredibly educational on your earth science or geology concepts
Yes.
too.
Yes, which is why the Japanese title is actually Introduction to Mineralogy.
We got not you worry. Okay. Okay. They know what they're doing. Major complaint I do have with this one though is the main lead there. Yeah, they like to show off her big bazongas. Unfortunately, I don't mind. Not unfortunately. I don't mind this. I'd rather enjoy it most of the time. It looks like she tucks her shirt in under her boobs.
Yeah, there's definitely something surreal about the level of stretch to her fabric. That they've clearly bent the rules of physics just a little bit to be able to emphasize her features without having her be more scantily clad.
I wouldn't mind it. Everything else in this show was just so well done, but it's just like, nope, those are going to be sticking out there real. I don't want to say obnoxiously, but I can't think of a better word at the moment. But yeah, other than that, the Yuri Rocks here is a very, you know what you're getting by episode 1. It's cute. It's weirdly educational if you got a thing for rocks.
Yeah, these are characters that have very much an autistic special interest in mineralogy.
a little bit of product placement, I think, with some mining stuff at the back end of the episode 1, if I remember correctly, but nothing overtly obvious. Just the, "Hey, you need this kind of equipment," and I think they just show off the brand names on them for doing this kind of work, which when you are going through rocks, guess what? You do need a lot of weirdly specialized equipment for it.
Yeah, that's true. And, sometimes that kind of thing is just a matter of like, okay, we need to use something as an example anyway. Can we reach out to the company and see if we can get permission to have the branded thing instead of needing to go through the trouble of like making it a close approximation of it?
Shovel brand shovel. Yeah, one episode of this one, and you pretty much have an idea what you're getting into.
Yeah, I think that's definitely accurate. All right. Next up, we have cultural exchange with a game center girl, and although this show is fairly wholesome, I will give the caveat that this also kind of applies to the last show a little bit. This is very much a like younger girl with interactions with an older character. The last show, there's nothing explicitly there in terms of like a relationship, but this show, well, you'll see.
Game Center?
ジャパニーズゆるキャラユウにプレゼントなんて言えばハッピーバレンタイン
Are you giving this to me?
Yes!
Alright. Thank you, I'll cherish it.
Yes, yes! 適当にバレンタインとか言っちゃったけどまあいっか Present for you
My name is Lily. Lily Baker.
こうして俺とリリーちゃんとのゲーセンでの異文化交流が始まった
Oh no.
異文化交流って難しい
テレビアニメ「ゲーセン少女と異文化交流」Please watch it!
Did you catch any of this one, Agent?
Yep, I have caught quite a bit of this one actually. I was quite enjoying it quite a bit, honestly.
Oh, surprising.
Well, one of the biggest aspects of this is the language barrier between the two characters. Of one can kind of speak Japanese, the other can kind of understand English, but it's very much in the English category of what they do. At least in the sub, there is a dub going on with this. It's not a direct simul dub, but it is a very close behind on it. I did not catch that once I realized that a lot of the, I don't want to say, so a good chunk of the comedy in this is going to be from one speaks English, one speaks Japanese. So
yeah, I can't imagine how a dub would work with this show.
I really do need to go back and watch it. I just haven't had a chance to. You said there's an age gap between the two characters?
Yes. So the male protagonist here is a college student, and Lily Baker is in fact a middle school student who is in the same class as his younger sister.
Oh, okay. Because this kind of felt like maybe one was in high school, one was like the back end of middle school, early high school. Like I could feel like 4 years of difference maybe, but this feels so that's closer to 7, 8 in there. I'm guessing probably. Maybe
Yeah,
10.
that seems more realistic.
Okay. Other than that,
I will say though that it's one of those shows where it's like younger girl has like a crush on an older person, and you do see that kind of thing in real life, and sometimes it's just it's just cute. It doesn't have to be like they don't really get weird about it. But she definitely does like swear that she'll make him like her back.
oh yeah. Like I said, it's cute. Like I said, I tend to bounce off of these kind of shows. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think this was mostly because I could watch it on the side from all the English and kind of understand a lot going on. But wasn't a bad watch overall. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. You know what you're getting into episode 1. Episode 1, full understanding of what everything else is going to be.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely very cute. If I had to have one little nitpick about it, it's that they seem to confuse or conflate a little bit people from England with people from Australia. And so occasionally she dips into more of an Australian accent, and the koala character is a very major part of the show, but koalas are Australia, not England. It just feels like a real oversight.
This wouldn't be too bad. But a lot of people are ticked off in Australia right now for other reasons.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's definitely a cute show. It feels very wholesome despite the age gap. So as long as the age gap itself isn't that huge of a problem for you, it's a cute watch. All right. Next up, we have a Billy anime for the season. Ugly Mug Epic Fighter. If I remember right, this is one of the shows that does feature, at least at one point, plot point that has to do with some sexual assault. So content warning on that.
異世界第二の人生いいだろ釣られてやるよルクスを下げればポイントをもらえるのかこれでどうだ
Basic translation, what if I just make my appearance score super low?
マイナス255のルックスまさか本当に異世界
持ってる割にすごいですね
しげるさん決起の握手をしましょう
さすが異世界ですねビー
この世界でもイケメンとブサメンの格差は変わらず
みんなに伝えておきたいことがあるんだおやつは3リラまでとします
遠足か
ごめんなさい
ジャンピング土下座一発も当たってねえ大丈夫かこいつら俺を含めて全員この世界へは逃げてきたんだ絶対神俺はこのルックスの代償として手に入れたんだ超チートなステータスを
Okay, you go ahead first on this one.
Really? I know you were pretty into it, so I was going to let you take the lead. But, so, as those watching may recall, I have a little bit of a bias against Billy, partly because they're a Chinese company, and partly because the anime that they gave us early on were really awful garbage.
All horrible CGI fest, all horrible story-wise, generic. The early Billy stuff.
Characters, dialogue that made no sense. It was just so bad. This one, while not nearly as good as 2B Hero X that we saw last season, is still a huge step up by their standards compared to some of those past shows. And it's saying something that a huge step up for their standards gets them into, like, the isekai trash category.
To be fair, the one thing she was kind of hinting at before, it's like, I love this show. This is a new, I was going to say new, but like a slightly different take on the isekai trash genre of, hey, the main character is OP. He's also ugly as sin. But not in a generic kind of way. It's the fact that they actually give him a personality and other things on it, and he's doing his best to not be, I'm the ultimate main character, friendship has power. It's like, I'll wear my way and build my... It's the fact that they make it so he takes damage if he so much as touches a woman is outrageous to me. A gag I don't think I've stopped laughing at every time it comes up.
Although not the only character they show where women are their definite weakness.
There's a couple things. there's a lot going on, and while a lot of things come off as generic, it does feel like all of the characters they introduce do have a lot more story and do want to reflect on that one. The one weird thing that did kind of strike me as I was watching is while they do like their backgrounds, they are pretty well done. You do not see a lot of characters per shot. Even when in a city, you will sometimes see an entire block and only our main trio, our main group in it, where the rest is just empty.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, the general animation quality of this show is really what you'd expect for like the isekai trash genre. You don't expect to see anything like super high quality here. Characters feel pretty static most of the time. You get an occasional gag where somebody's moving as part of like a combat scene or something, but even then, it tends to be a little on the janky side. As you alluded to, yeah, the show does feel a little bit unique in some respects. Like they have a few good ideas that they're putting into it. I have mixed feelings about kind of the central premise personally with the whole like ugly mug thing. This is also another series where we're kind of slipping back into like the dark themes thing where like this is a character who he has a lot of personality because he's very traumatized from his previous life. And that's kind of true of all the characters. Like everyone who's here made the intentional choice of forsaking their current life to come to this fantasy, place and kind of start over. So everybody is bringing some baggage with them of some kind. Yeah, it's I don't really know what else to say about it at the moment, but I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say when we get to our trash component of our end of season. There was something else I wanted to mention here on. Oh no, sorry, that's the next show that I wanted to mention. Something else for content flags.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add, Agent?
Mostly that like we will have to see where this goes. Overall, I think episode 1 gives you a pretty good feel for it. I don't think you get to the full story until the end of it, but once you hit that, you understand exactly what's going on for the rest of this. You can probably get into it after that. So this will be another 1 episode. A little piece wants to put 2, but I think 1 is definitely where it fits. But yeah, it would, depending on how they handle a few more of their concepts, that might either up its score or lower its score in the end for our seasonal review.
For sure. All right. Next up, we have The Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses, or the Japanese title, The Stunned Hero and the Assassin Princesses. Yeah, content warning for this show. There is definitely like a lolly style character going on here. We also have like one of the characters like drugging people is her entire thing. So if that kind of content is problematic for you, maybe give this one a pass. There's also like forced BDSM aspects thrown in, particularly around that character. So just be aware there are some aspects of this show that viewer discretion is advised.
Oh yeah. All right. The fact
do you want to head this one up?
Yeah, a little weird that they call it the Shy Hero and the Assassination Princesses, since I'm fairly certain only one's technically a princess on this one, but marketing.
Yeah.
Other than that, this is a Dragon Quest themed fantasy world where your ultimate, tough as nails, macho man hero can't talk to women. As a matter of fact, he passes out if they get showed too much interest in him. As in, body locks up and he stands strong even as he's unconscious. With 3 assassins trying to kill him at every turn, but slowly falling for his charm and his goofy dorkiness.
The slow burn relationship that forms between the 3 female characters is also very interesting in this show.
Oh yeah, seeing the different aspects of life and different things of what brought them in there. Once again, as everyone was aware of the dancer / Amazonian style looking character, hypersexualized in this entire show, more than they were letting on in the goddamn trailer even.
Oh yeah. Her entire thing is like skills that revolve around mind controlling people with lust and drugs.
Yeah. Luckily enough, the lolly isn't looted, so yay.
I mean, low key, but not high key.
She looks cute and charming, not like in a bikini dancing around like the other 2 sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like we saw her in some lingerie kind of deal, like even there in the preview. But that's about as bad as it gets. She will occasionally like blow on the hero's ear to make him lock up or something like that, but it's not. It's by no means overtly sexualized.
Yep. Other than that, like I said, you do get the central gag with the hero and the 3 assassins. But a lot of the story comes from the 3 kind of getting to know each other and becoming better friends too.
Absolutely agreed. Really, the whole party kind of gradually coming together. They form under false pretenses, but I'm feeling another one of those kind of found family things slowly forming.
Yep. But overall, I would say episode 1 gets you to where you need to go on this one.
I would agree.
A little bit more in episode story-wise, episode 2 character development, but this is very much, what you got by the end of episode 1. All right, then. What do we have next, Yuki?
Next up, we have Welcome to the Outcasts Restaurant. Now, content warning for this one. This is deceptively dark. This one definitely does feature, like, attempted sexual assault, as well as, like, bullying and a number of other themes that are kind of on the dark side. Even though it's wrapped in this sort of charming exterior package. And it's not a super high-end show, but it still tries to grapple with these darker themes periodically.
メニューよし、水よし、調理器具よし、冒険者食堂ついに開店だ。俺はデニスさ、よろしくな。あーっと体も来てみやがれ、最初のお客様。
いらっしゃいませ。そういう時はチャーハン。
よし、アトリエ、お前がうちの看板娘だ。
わかりました。日替わり定食お願い。
それでも食って元気出せ。
それなら卵。
いいから好きなもん食え。
心もお腹も満たされる新異世界グルメ人情ファンタジー。
追放者食堂へようこそ。
7月から放送開始。
Sorry, one other, this one's a little bit of a spoiler, but one other content warning I completely forgot to mention there. The lolly main character in this show, was a slave that the restaurant owner purchased in order to save her from definitely becoming a sex slave.
Man, they really misled you with this trailer. is there more back into this, or is that just the credits that I'm seeing there?
I think it's just the credits, but we can take a look real quick to be safe.
人生うまくいかなくても飯はうまい
We missed one phrase.
Yeah, okay then. Unfortunately, this was supposed to be a show I was catching today, but we'll get to that at the end here.
Yeah, it was a show that's much darker than you would expect just beneath the surface.
But okay, what is this show then?
This show is a level 99 cook adventurer gets kicked out of like the biggest party of the kingdom. Again, we've got one of those like really terrible party leaders making objectively bad decisions and like nepotism and whatever. And says, okay, screw it, I'm just going to go open my own restaurant. Along the way, buys the lolly to save her from her life of sexual exploitation, and opens his restaurant. Mind you, he does set her free and, says, like, it's entirely your own option, but if you want to, you can stay here with me and you can work at the restaurant. So also child labor, technically, but it's kind of very much like a father-daughter relationship going on there. So it's sort of like, daughter who works at dad's shop. What else can we say about this show? It's one of those like adventure of the week sort of shows where ostensibly it's about that store and it's kind of food porn, but usually that's really more of a vehicle where like they kind of function as the adventure tavern that people come into, and then you follow their misadventures that often involve the chef getting involved as a deus ex machina to clean things up. I think this might be kind of a 2-episoder because the first episode is pretty much ends with him establishing the store, so you don't really get to see the episode or see the show start to go through its real paces until episode 2.
All right, that sounds a lot better. I think I remember you commenting that some of the really darker stuff hits in episode 2 as well.
Yes, I believe episode 2 was where we start to see the sexual assault pop up.
Oof. Okay. Oh yeah, because I'm starting to look at this list, and we're starting to get a little darker with this.
Yep. All right. Next up, we've got Turkey, Time to Strike, the Bowling Girls anime. Definitely the Bowling Girls anime.
あなたは信じてくれるかな。不思議で愛しくて切なくて大切な私たちの物語。お疲れ。はいチー。なんで負けたのに乾杯なの。楽しかったからだよ。私は楽しくなかった。負けて楽しいって何。そんなモチベないから。舞ちゃんの力になりたくて。部長、本当は勝てるのにわざと手抜いてスプリット出すよね。わざとじゃないよ。あの現象はわざとと。補欠は黙ってて。リナも楽しくて、さゆりものぞみも七瀬も私も楽しい部活にしたい。無理だよ。だったら私に勝ってみて。見つけようよ。リナの楽しいと私たちの楽しいの真ん中。ずっと思ってた。私は勝ちたい。ほらまた出会えるからバカになんかしてない。私だって本当は見つかる。真ん中は絶対。100日経っても忘れないで。みんな一緒に帰ろうね。
Bull fucking shit. Fuck you.
Yeah, so what Agent is alluding to here is this entire preview is basically a complete lie about what this series is.
Okay. I'm gonna start because I've commented on a couple people about this. Hey, there's this bowling anime about cute girls in their bowling club. Episode 2 has a guy get decapitated, and I've kind of left it at that.
Start of the episode, even.
Yes. So,
Spoilers will follow, by the way.
Yes.
And have already begun.
So, yeah, after we started off this is a team of bowling high school. This is a middle school. Doesn't matter at all.
I think they're middle school, but yeah.
Yeah. Team bowling, a lot of drama, a lot of personalities, good, all of that fun. They get teleported back to the Sengoku Wars period in episode 1 and start of episode 2. And are now a bunch of modern day whatever girls in now medieval Japan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but just what? Like nothing. Okay, to be fair, its own opening, which I do think I don't remember if the episode 1 opened with that or if it's at the end of episode 1, like a lot of shows like to do. But its own opening does allude to its time travel thing. It's not advertised in the trailer. It's not advertised on the promotional concept. You don't know that to the end of episode 1, where a magic bowling ball teleports them back in time.
I don't think we got to see the intro in episode 1. I think it was one of those series where they hid that from us to prevent the spoilers.
Yes, but it's okay. The premise itself is kind of interesting. I actually don't mind that because they might end up jumping around through time. I don't know if I got to episode 3 on this one. I feel like I did.
Definitely only cleared episode 2 myself. But for sure, you are not getting the full story of this show in episode 1. This is at least a 2-episode show.
I'm just going to slap this into 3 just because I feel like it needs a lot more, because 2 didn't feel like it explained too much either. But there is a lot to go on here. If you're kind of interested in a sports high school girl team, not your show, technically. If you're kind of interested in a modern day time travel show, possibly, because they were, like we said, a guy gets decapitated, not like the full blood and gore of the MA style anime, but this is a very upper teen, more older shonen style brutality, as well as alluding to a bunch of other sexual assault and things like that going on, as was the style in medieval warfare.
Oh yeah, they definitely try to rape these girls mid-battle. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
There is some interest here too in how they solve problems cleverly using what little access they have to their modern technology and such. But man, is this a weird show?
Yeah.
And they definitely are very intentionally giving you a false sense of what it is in episode 1.
Yeah, very jarring almost, because I think you just said you wanted me to handle this one for the season.
Yeah.
Not a problem on that, but it's I honestly give it a try if you're curious. We will have to give you our full thoughts on that one at the end of season review, just because not a lot to base your impressions on your first couple episodes for this one.
Other than a huge plot twist that we've already unfortunately spoiled for you.
Honestly, I feel like if you don't know about it, it'll be incredibly jarring and irritating. Or at least it can be.
Yeah. All right. If you don't have any other thoughts on this one, next up is Dekken no Magura, the Earthbound Mole.
しくった。広辞苑が降ってくるなんて普通予想しねえじゃねえか。いや、救急車はまずい、やめろ。モグラだよ。
改めてどうも。世にも珍しい仙人です。知り合ってご愁傷さん。青春の若者たち、おっぺけぺ。
I feel like you would very much vibe with this main character.
I can understand where you come with on that, and then I can very much do it. Unfortunately, this show is steeped in Japanese culture, iconography, and references. There was so many things that I just felt like were, oh, you're supposed to understand this because you know this cultural aspect of of the Japanese culture. I just went right over my head, and I did not enjoy watching the one episode I did on this one. This was a pseudo mystery kind of show with a bit of spiritualism mixed in. It tried to explain itself, but it comes off as dull and boring. Dull and boring are the two concepts that straight out to me right away. The art style is kind of that older, I want to say 90s, early, not late 80s, but there was just so much in this show I just could not understand or did not get and turned into a snooze fest because of that. Unfortunately.
Well, okay. So, note on the dark aspect of the show. It's not a major spoiler, but is a minor one, sort of episode 1 business. To mention that the main character is technically immortal in the sense that he has been banished from the afterlife and thus cannot die. That doesn't mean he can't suffer and feel pain, but it does mean that he will not be like, no matter how old or decrepit or injured he gets, he will never pass on.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about the very similar Greek myth that involves that is its own form of torture and its own sort of purgatory or hell.
Yeah, it's like I said, I feel like I need to do research per episode on this show to understand its jokes and concepts in so many areas. And normally, I'm all about lore. I like cultural thing. It's this. I don't. Maybe it's doing better in Japan. Maybe if you're Japanese, it's a pretty easy to understand, and you get a lot more of the jokes. If you are, let me know because I can't get it, and I don't believe you watched too much of this, if any of it, Yuki.
I also only got one episode into this one.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else you would like to add on this?
Not really. I mean, yeah, it definitely had that older style and feel to it. But it definitely didn't grab me very hard either. I could, you know, I don't really know where to rank this one in terms of how much you need to see. I feel like they kind of explained everything we needed to know about the show in episode 1. But at the same time, since it really isn't catching either of us, maybe this one is a skip.
I feel fine throwing it in there. I watched episode 1. I can't remember most of it. I just remember the parts that confused me, and that's about it. It's just I hate to rip out a show just that much, especially at the start, but I couldn't get just nothing on pulled me in.
Yeah, there wasn't anything overtly bad about it. It was hard to get interested in it. And that's a tough way to feel like to end up feeling about a show after episode 1. Especially in an era where shows have gotten much better at, like, you know, front loading some kind of hook for you to get you interested. And when it's got so much competition.
Yeah, especially this season because we have some stuff still down here.
We sure do. All right, next up we've got Togen Anki.
昔々人を喰らう鬼とそれを退治する桃太郎がいた。対立し合う二つの種族の戦いは今も続いている。
Oh yeah, Momotaro gets referenced in anime a lot.
お前らは最前線で桃太郎機関と戦うことになる。俺は強くなりてえんだ。おやつの敵討つために。時間がもったいねえ。
もう土に帰ります。
俺たちで奪い合えってか。
面白いじゃん。頭が痛くなってきた。まだ僕たちの番ではないですよ。強くなれるかどうか、これが俺の初めの一歩だ。わざわざご苦労なこと。鬼機関の下っ端が大量発生か。ウジ虫が隊列作って軍隊ごっこか。人間の真似事なんて笑えるよね。うちは危険な鬼を殺すだけっす。なんだ。前線だけが戦場じゃない。ここが俺の戦場だよ。強ければ死なない。シンプルな話です。やっぱ君は優しいよ。強くしてあげてね。俺は何をしているんだ。桃太郎って正義の味方じゃねえのかよ。
さあさあ、童話のラストを華やかに飾ろうじゃないか。
核として英雄をぶっ潰してやる。
As you can see, things are getting darker.
That being said, this looks like to be another big shonen coming out.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, they gave it an ending theme by Bandmaid, which is what we were just listening to. Some of you may remember Bandmaid as the band from Rock is a Lady's Modesty last season. So their stuff is pretty decent. But, like, I don't see this taking off as a major shonen title, given that in the combat scenes, they have a tendency to suddenly and inexplicably switch over to 3D CGI models that look like they came straight out of a PS3 game.
Okay, I will give you that. The bad CGI is in effect with this one, but this is definitely giving me more of the adult, I don't want to say adult, but older shonen feels. A little bit similar to Chainsaw Man, but not as brutalistic as that.
The thing is, shonen as a genre is ultra tough competition. And generally speaking, if you don't have the highest of the high top-end Sakuga, you are not competitive in that genre. So I think...
I was gonna say, it's like I will definitely agree with you on there, but it also might be the fact that I'm American and the main character's special ability is I make guns.
Yeah, and I'm sure that will have its appeal to like a certain subset of otaku in Japanese culture as well. But based on what I've seen of this show so far, which to be fair is only episode 1. Even so, I just can't see this being a major title. I don't see it being competitive with the other shows. And if you can't beat one of the other existing major shonen shows in the rankings, you are doomed to not get a second season, generally speaking.
Yep, on that, I will say I think you need to watch episode 2 to get a better feel for this one, since episode 1 just sets up the beginning of the hero's journey archetype.
I agree. I definitely got the impression that you won't even meet most of the characters until episode 2.
Yeah, but I don't think they even start fleshing them out until episode 3 overall. Overall, once again, it's if you're familiar with Momogatari, generally the hero onlys are generally the villains. It's kind of interesting to see that turned on its head. Once again, the villains also kind of always get the coolest looks, and a lot of the blood powers in this, I'm really liking. It kind of reminds me of what was that called? Something Neverland?
Promise Neverland?
No, not
Or
Promise.
maybe Dead Man Wonderland?
Dead Man Wonderland. That's the one I was thinking of. All the blood aspect to it.
I will also point out that while the Oni powers look decent, the Momotaro powers look absolutely awful and janky. They really could have done better with those.
My power is black particle effect. 13.
Yeah. And even if that was like really what it was kind of supposed to be, I'm sure they could have made it look cooler than they did.
Yeah, but all right, you. I'm looking at the rest of these. We only probably have a couple more before we have to give our final warnings, don't we?
Yep, that's about right.
Alright.
Next up, we get back into some of our more apocalyptic shows, which again still remain on kind of the lower end of the darkness spectrum, with Night of the Living Cat.
Night of the Living Cat.
You gonna be okay there, Agent?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is like I was expecting some comedy, some jokes in this one. This show took me by surprise with how much I liked it.
See, now you would think this show would be a shoo-in for me, but actually, I wasn't that keen on this one.
Yeah, I could feel the CGI really kicking you away from this.
Yeah, that is part of it, but I'll get into more detail than that as well. So I've learned, just as a reference point for everybody, this show was directed by a like well-known and respected Japanese live-action horror movie director. Unfortunately, this is his first time doing anything animated, and that kind of shows as part of where some of the problems come in, I think. As Agent mentioned, there's also the awful CGI. That makes me very sad, especially because when you're dealing with cats, especially in a plot premise like this, one of the main things that you're looking for is for those cats to be very cute, charming, and appealing. And they did not capture that at all. Even in the scenes where the cats are actually hand animated, they're still not very appealing. Which really bums me out because I really wanted to like this show. Where this show shines to me is the more horror oriented scenes where there's this juxtaposition of how like absurd it is that what they're scared of is cats, and like the way that people can't help but try to engage with the cats even though they know that it will doom them. Like those parts are great. Unfortunately, we spend a huge amount of our time in flashbacks with characters that have the personality of wet cardboard. And it feels like those scenes are supposed to be carried by the cats, and they're very much not, in my opinion. The show could really do without like any of the flashback scenes. If they cut all those, it would be a much better show.
Yeah, that being said, what we have here is a not a demake, but a parody kind of like of I'm trying to think of what the movie was called, but instead of a horrible monster, it's something that doesn't look like it. Kind of how like South Park did their 3-part special, The Giant Guinea Pigs. There's an old movie that's constantly referenced that's giant rabbits destroying a town. This is kind of in that vein, only pure zombie apocalypse, but with cats. There's a bunch. The jokes are where this is really shining off to me. Just the sheer comedic of, oh no, the cat's squirming through this small hole. How could it fit through that? Did explain about that. I'll probably say one of the oddest things turned out to be a real enjoyment for me is the cats they almost turn this into a PSA in several parts of, oh yeah, you have to do this for your cats, or you need to handle this, or you need to be taken care of like this, or they have this kind of personality. If you're trying
remember that feeding rice is not good for them, and like
yeah, this is a zombie apocalypse show with cats. It's also a PSA about owning a cat. Now that you say the director is very much influenced a live action horror person, I can see that a lot more. A lot of the basic zombie horror tropes and concepts like that, I can spot. That they're doing this or they're doing that, and I think that comes a little bit more in play to me with a lot of the flashbacks.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is, like, you mentioned some of the other movies that this kind of feels similar to, or like references. The thing that I can't help but keep comparing this to is Gyo by Junji Ito. Because it feels like it was very much trying to be that same style of film in some senses, where like the threat is very absurd, but what's scary about it is how, even with how absurd it is, it's still capable of destroying society. But it just doesn't do nearly as good of a job as that show does.
Yeah. Honestly, like the comparison I'm going to make, what thought this would be, was it Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, I could see that in terms of like the humor style.
Yeah. So maybe it'll get a little bit better as we go. There's still a lot I would need to see on this one, because especially the first couple episodes feel more raw parody, and it's like, are they going to keep that up through the whole show, or are they actually going to do some little bit of remake or more comedy stuff as the series progresses? That will be where a lot of zombie shows really live or die, is like, how do they end?
Yeah, I feel like they're really definitely setting up some plot there. I won't spoil it with my takes on what seems to be the obvious hints that they're throwing us, but
I would say one episode though gets you everything you need to know about this. Maybe further on,
that seems
but
fair.
even if you get to 3, you're on the same kind of story with more slowly unfolding. You're not going to see any big differences on there yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up is Onmyo Kaiten Rebirth Verse.
月宮さんのピンチだろう。約束したんだ。絶対助ける。
Oh, very first original animation.
Oh, it's David too.
そうだ、初めて会った時も俺ここに来てた。
私は月宮。君って違う世界から来たんじゃないの？
成平健って言います。約束したんす。俺がもっと強くなってあなたを守るって。
60秒後に闇薫が発生。
月宮さん、今度こそ絶対に成平結果君、死ぬまで負けは認めんな。死んでも負けは認めんな。面白いですね彼。
私が危ない時助けてくれる？
成平健は
絶対負けない君の強さでね。
死んでも負けねえ。月宮さんを守るんだ。陰陽回転リバース7月放送開始。
Okay, I know you bounced off of this right away, it seemed like. Any particular reason?
Yeah. I bounced pretty hard both off of the CG combat and off of the characters.
Okay, yeah. So start off, yeah, there is some heavy use of CGI. I wouldn't say it's god awful looking. It's just very CGI esque overall.
It's very obvious, and it's definitely not the highest quality out there, but it's not sinfully bad.
Yep. Overall, I don't want to say it feels base shonen isekai, but I think I compared it to Re:Zero with Mex Yuki. And this
Yeah,
does have
I wouldn't put it on the same quality level as Re:Zero at all, but I see where you're going with the comparison.
they're they don't properly explain what kind of worlds are going on. This is definitely supposed to be explained as the series progresses. They're using the main character's isekai problem as a way to slowly explain the world to the audience as he is the stand-in, while also the characters into the world are wondering like what the heck's with this guy and all of his weird powers is the other side of that. Um this is a fun shonen battle show, little bit of mechs, some weird time travel stuff which I won't get into if you do want to anyone who wants to get into this. But overall, I if this can go to a good place, especially as an original, I can see it doing good. The fact that it's David production, the guys behind JoJo, means these people generally know their shonen pretty well, so I'm hopeful on that end. But there could be a lot of missteps, especially with an original series.
Yeah, a lot of what drove JoJo was it being such like a legendary manga that they were adapting. So I wouldn't expect them to be able to live up to that kind of quality level on this story.
Yeah, overall though, episode 1, while not getting you fully into the plot, does pretty much explain everything you need to know and gives you a feel for how the series is going to progress overall. I don't think too much past that needs to be watched to know if you will like it or not.
Fair enough.
I believe this one also has a simul-dub as well.
Maybe? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep. I remember watching this in dub, so probably.
If it is, though, it probably lags at least one episode behind or something, because when I watched it, it defaulted to sub, even though I've got my settings set to default to dubs where available.
No, mine do too, and it's defaulting to sub for me for some reason on this one. I don't know if Crunchyroll's having some problems with that, but...
Oh, that might explain why I didn't notice some of the shows being dubbed then.
Yeah, apparently you have to switch it. The last show you watched was in Japanese or something like that. I don't know what's going on. But it was one of those, I picked it up on one and then going to the next one, like, oh, I wonder if this is going to have dub. Saw it did. It's like, wait, what? And then saw it was with per episode up to the current one. So it's something to keep an eye out for, I would say then.
All right. Next up is We Have Bloodborne at Home, the anime, Lord of Mysteries. Sorry. Before we go any further, I did neglect to mention here, we are getting into the very much more content warning heavy stuff. This one does feature unaliving yourself as part of the central plot premise. Please use discretion going forward past this point. We will do our best to give you content flags, but know that we're getting into Adult Swim territory, and you are going to start to see some heavily flagged stuff, some very dark stuff, and some very sexual themes as well for the rest of the shows past this point.
There's a few on here that I don't see quite anything else from, but yeah, we can definitely do that if you would, at this point too, if you would want to just declare that. For anyone still underage or minus 18, beware. All of these are going to be dark, warning, and have something explicitly not for children in them.
Oh, yeah? And we'll tell you when we get to the sexual part as well, but I'll go ahead and restart this one.
这哪儿？噩梦？这……豆腐，不能一血了吧？快老速死！克莱恩，是。克莱恩是谁？啊！ 是我，克莱恩，我穿越了。
情况，队长，死者2名，韦尔奇、纳亚，霍伊大学历史系毕业。从现场的痕迹来看。 是自杀，但这里应该经历了一场黑占卜或者非凡陷阱，导致了某种邪恶力量的降临。
这个人是
克莱恩·莫雷蒂，死者的同学，父母皆亡，目前和哥哥妹妹住在一起。
That was kind of an abrupt ending to that trailer.
Yeah, I felt like that wanted to go on for another 30 seconds there. But not a Billy show, weirdly enough, but this is another Chinese show. A heavy, dark, gothic horror mystery show. They really do live up to the mystery aspect of it. And this is also a shonen, more accurately in the, I got reincarnated and a person who's already alive and kind of inherit all of their memories and stuff while getting all of my previous ones. So that weird subgenre and concept.
I think you meant to say isekai. You said shonen there.
Oh, my bad. Yep, no, isekai. My bad. But isekai, where they do take over the other person's body and life kind of thing. The mystery aspect on most of what they've shown in the first couple episodes aren't very big. This is closer to, I would say, in feel to Witch Hunter Robin as a, we're going to hunt down like all these dark sorcerers or dark powered people while we are in the light. While the main character is kind of trying to figure out what's going on with himself as what's going on with the world and trying to get by in it. This definitely is a 2-episode just because 1 leaves you with so much questions and you're not sure what's going on. Episode 2 starts to get you into the flow, starts to get you into, this person's doing this. This is over here. That makes sense. Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that you have to kind of get past in terms of like proper nouns and stuff. In the beginning of this show, like I only managed to catch 1 episode of it. This is a series that has like close to 40-minute episodes, which is also very unusual. So it's definitely a time investment on that front.
I think only that first episode was that extra long. I think the rest of these hover around 30 full, and it's just as a solid 30.
I don't know what episode 2 said it was 36 minutes. So
okay, I might be wrong then. I don't entirely remember. This is one of those shows. This show got an early start, so it's one of the first ones I watched this season. And
fair enough.
Because of our sheer number of shows, I haven't watched past episode 3 on anything so far.
Yeah, it's been quite a flood. Also, the release schedule has been weird. There's like 2 days a week where on those 2 days, probably 75% or more of the shows drop.
And it's like a weekday too. It's like a Tuesday or a Thursday or something too. It's not like Saturday or Friday.
Yeah?
But
just suddenly buried in shows.
Yeah.
In terms of animation quality, by the way, this show in general is pretty nice looking. You do get some stuff that's a little bit rough around the edges here and there. Personally, part of the reason I decided to kind of leave this show to Agent is that there's some aspects of like the camera work and some of the ways that they use CGI that while they leave me feeling a little bit uncomfortable in a way that tells me if I were more sensitive to it, it could actually nauseate me. So do be careful of that going into the show. If wildly swinging cameras are the kind of thing that make you queasy, this show does that a lot for no reason, so you might want to give this one a pass.
Yeah. And like I said, once again, the gothic horror thing is fun. It does dip a little bit into the cosmic horror bit as well, but those two tend to rub up against each other a lot. So be prepared for that kind of concept as well.
All right. Next up, this show doesn't really have any particular themes that we need to worry or warn about in terms of like the usual content flags, but in general, it does seem to be fairly dark. So next up is Hotel Inhumans.
There you go.
最高のホテルには条件がある。極上の食事、至高の癒し、魅惑の娯楽、そしてお預かりいたします。新品をこちら。
あ、ごめん。
ようこそホテルインヒューマンズへ。私灰崎沙羅がおもてなしいたします。
星育郎と申します。どうも、僕そういうの担当でして。ここはホテルインヒューマンズ。お客様は殺し屋様。もてなすのは決してノーと告げないコンシェルジュ。
Okay, so the first comparison I think a lot of people might make when they look at this is the Continental from John Wick. And
a series of movies I have not watched.
Oh, you've never seen John Wick, really?
Nope.
Okay, so better reference. This is a story about a hotel that serves a clientele of assassins and other, I don't quite want to say mafiosos, but definitely assassins are their main clientele. This is an anthology show. Like the second thought that came to my head when I was watching this is XXX Holic, with how a lot of episodes are completely different person and a completely different story, with the two hotel concierges as our only
concierges,
concierges, or however that you want to. It's the Japanese trying to use a French word again. Trying to help their customers and solve whatever minor or weird issues they have going on.
Or major issues.
Well, okay, yeah, it's kind of the thing. Major issues, any kind of normal sense along the words. Minor to assassins, kind of it. I'm probably wrong on that either way. I don't tend to like anthology shows just because of how hit or miss they can be from episode to episode. That being said, nothing overtly wrong with it, and right at the get-go, just kind of dull. And once
I will say episode 1 was very sad.
Yeah, the sad themes are going to be continuing on from here in most of these shows. There isn't too much to go on. And like I said, anthology also tend to not be my bread and butter just because I can't get invested in an ongoing story of that gets wrapped up by the end of the episode. That's because this isn't so much like a mystery show where it's like, oh, they're going to do this mystery. Then this is no, these people, the main characters' lives generally don't change, and you might get some more introspective on them. But at the end of the day, see, episode 1 and the final episode of the season is going to leave them at the same place that they started at, and you're not going to see too much evolution in them. Honestly, this show feels like if it would have come out. Oh shit, I'm gonna feel old. 20 years ago, this would have been a lot better. This feels like an early 2000s show.
I can see where you're going with that.
Other than that, you know what you got episode 1. It's a full story, and from there, I think you can know whether you will like it or hate it.
Yeah, this is a show I don't think I'll be sticking with either. It's just not the right kind of anything for me.
Yeah. But all right, what do we got next?
Next up, we've got The Summer Hikaru Died.
Oh, right, this thing.
Yeah, so again, dark. You've got people dying in episode 1. This is a horror genre, technically. If you don't know what you're getting into with horror, I can't help you.
お前さ、ほんまにあの山で1週間も行方不明だったん覚えてないんか？
おう、全然。
どんだけみんな心配したと思っとるん？
俺がおらんくて寂しかった？
いや、別に。なあ、変なこと聞いてもええか？お前、やっぱ惹かれちゃうやろ。
お前のこと大好きやね。お前を殺したない。
さよなら、あなたじゃなくたっていいからお前が何者やろうといつまでもそばにいてほしい。
ヒカルとなんか
Yeah, bad fit for the show.
どこかに何らかの形で潜んでるんでしょうね。
俺は自分が何なのかよう知らん。
お前が一体何者なんか。
好きや。めっちゃ好き。このままやと混ざるで。初めてここにいてええんやって思った。
どこまでもお前に付き合うよ。たとえ俺の何かが壊れても。
Man, this was the very first show of the season I started watching, and my first thought was, this was going to be the darkest thing I've seen this season, isn't it?
How wrong you were.
Yeah. So to be fair, this feel like if I wanted to compare this to another show, this would be up there with Higurashi, probably. This is brutalist, dark, with a coding of everything will be fine. It's daily life. You'll get along with it. And honestly, like the Judy Ito comparison feels more apt here than anything else.
Yeah, I would agree with that. This, by the way, doesn't feel like a very scary kind of horror, and it's certainly not the type, from what I've seen, that relies on jump scares. It's more like that there's dark and creepy things going on. That people are dying, and it's sort of like the drama that surrounds that.
Oh, it's very much in that Japanese psychological horror genre. This is not the oh dear God, there is a monster sitting next to me, and I don't know how to deal with this. And I don't know if I want to get rid of it, even.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, the main character's got some tough decisions to make.
Very much so. I don't want to spoil too much for anyone who wants to get into this one, though, just from how much they throw at you in episode 1, which I think episode 1's a very good all you need to know on this show at this point, though.
I only got to see episode 1, so I can't argue against that. But it definitely seemed like it wasn't trying to hide anything from me.
I mean, it did for the start, but yeah, no, it's yeah. Woohoo. I want to say, oh god, this gets heavy, but no, the anvil's coming.
Oh yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Gachiakuta.
The pit where all the trash ends up, be it things or people. I'm not going anywhere. Not until they get what's coming to them, right?
You come work with us. The cleaners need exceptional people like you.
Tell me about this world. I need to know it all.
Those of us who can give life to objects and draw out their power. A giver. The cleaners are trash beast exterminators, and we need more givers.
Engine personally asked me to show you the ropes.
You should come along and see us in action.
Nothing's gonna stop me from going back. I'll take the shit here and beat those shitheads to death! You all yap about sphere this and ground that, or it's trash this and tribesfolk that. Quit making up labels so you can have a reason to treat people like garbage!
Weak nobody like that is worthless!
What's it mean to be worthless?
Take care of something long enough, it'll gain a soul.
Strike!
Crazy.
Let's tear each other to pieces! Change this shit heap of a world!
I'm not gonna take it anymore, you piece of shit!
So cool.
Looks like we need to clean you up.
Cleaning time!
I'm serious about this. I'm giving it all I've got!
Yeah, there's a lot of Battle Angel Alita in this.
Oh, that or what's the other people upper class lives in space colony kind of thing? We got the movie got a remake a couple years back.
I'm not sure which one you're referring to be honest.
There's a couple, but yeah, this once again, this is a heavy dark shonen. With
this one definitely feels like it has the better chance of being the big shonen new show for the season to me.
Yeah, there's about 3 shows in that competition. This overall, though, if you wanted a thing that breaks down classism, discrepancies against like people, as well as how you treat not just that, but like things around you with this powers and all that, and how much the rule of law can just be skewed again for the upper class to do what they want, which
dystopia, classism, murder.
Yep, and also how you maybe some environmentalism pinned down there later on. Overall, I enjoy the main character. I think you dropped this though, or kicked it my way.
Yeah, I kicked it your way, mostly just because of interest of time. Because I felt like this was one you would definitely probably end up watching, so it'd be safe for me to not cover it. Yeah, and I see Studio Bones is involved, which is no surprise. The show definitely has some pretty solid Sakuga going on in it, even though there's some relatively obvious CGI at times. It doesn't look bad. I don't think most people would care.
The where it really sticks out is where it's supposed to stick out, which is always nice to know when they put it in the right spots in their quality like that.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd say 2 episodes are needed on this one, since episode 1 just sets up the main character, where you don't get a good feel for the premise until episode 2.
That seems fair.
This is also simul-dub, so you will have a dub to watch right away on this if you want it.
Yeah, the fact that the trailer was dubbed is probably a good hint for that.
Yep, but not too much to say at the start there. This isn't a very shonen on its story progression. So other than getting to know the main character and his powers in the world, you don't get to know too much else. But that does set you up as you get going.
All right. Next up, we've got New Saga.
光の神々の加護を受けた種族、人族、闇に祝福された種族、魔族。守りたかったもの、もう何もない。故郷、 家族も仲間も愛する人すべて失った。
カイル、いつまで寝てんの？
これは夢か。
あら、カイルちゃん。
もう朝だよ、母さん。
命を魔力に変換する生贄の儀式ね。
過去に戻る魔法、そんなものがあるはずが。
神竜の心臓なら過去に戻るだけの魔力を溜め込むことができると思うの。
この平穏は3年後に終わる。この事実を知っているのは俺だけ。何もしなければあの時と同じ光景をまた見ることになる。
お前本当に英雄になるつもりなのか？
身にまとってる雰囲気が段違いだ。何かあったのかい？
貴様何者だ。
お主は時を遡ったのと同時に新しい世界に来たのじゃ。
俺はこの日誓ったんだ。必ず仇を討つと変えてやる。この世界の運命を変えてやる。
So this is not an isekai. This is a dark fantasy time travel shenanigans show.
Yeah, this is actually from I remember when I first started watching this, I believe I texted you to this. This is based off an older manga. I remember, like, when I say that, I mean, I think I started reading that manga 20 plus years ago at this point. To my knowledge, it's not finished yet.
Jeez.
It's a monthly airing, so they're very slow in their production. What this is doing with an anime of now at all times on this season of all places, I have no idea. When this popped up and I started watching the show and I recognized the story, this completely blindsided me. Hold on, I guess.
It's not very big spoilers to say that the reason we've got this one kind of nestled into the dark area of things is that this is a protagonist who loses everything in the process of barely defeating the Demon Lord and is given a second chance by being sent back in time through magic that they obtain upon defeating the Demon Lord to, in effect, have the opportunity to try to save everything that he loves this time around. So definitely a lot of those kind of ReZero vibes, I think, here.
At the start, ReZero does like to redo it over and over again. The only reason I gave it on the other one because I wasn't sure if that was going to be a continuously ongoing thing. This only has it at the start and makes it very clear that happened once. You're not doing that again.
I feel like there's the possibility, and again, I haven't read the manga, so you know more about this than I do, but from the anime, it feels possible that there could be a loop here, but it would be a very long loop where, like, he has to get all the way to the end and defeat the Demon Lord again to re-obtain the magic that sends him back in time.
Yeah. Overall, you watched a bit of this, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I've been keeping up on this one.
Okay, is the animation quality so-so or pretty good?
It's so-so, like a little bit above average for kind of the fantasy isekai trash category, but definitely nothing impressive.
Yeah, no, overall, I would say if you're wanting some more dark fantasy, this isn't the worst this season. If you're a fan of the manga, it's a good adaptation so far. I'm just really worried if they're going to try to speed run this show, which I'm not sure why they would. I don't know.
If they are, they're doing a bad job of it because the pacing so far hasn't felt like that's what they're trying to accomplish.
No, it felt like that. I'm just kind of curious because this is also a longer series, so I'm just not sure what they're doing. Like, I don't mind that this exists. I'm just confused at why it exists right now. Maybe the dark fantasy's been trying to be pushed and they're just digging deep into the barrel, but they're going back a long ways for this show and this series, and it's oddity to me. I don't understand why it exists. But
I wonder if it's one of those things where the licensing was hung up for a long time and then it just finally got into production.
I mean, 20 years old series at this point. So,
Yeah.
that being said, it's a fun watch. Like I said, I've been keeping pace with the manga for a while. It is a monthly series, so I tend to drop it for a year or two at a time and then read a bunch as I catch back into it.
It does have a little bit of a fantasy harem aspect going on too. That's a thing.
Yeah, the problem is this is a 20-year-old series, so like a lot of the concepts that it was doing at its time have become bog standard and kind of overdone at this point. So it's hard not to give this like a shining thing or like telling what it does. It's very middle of the road, but well done.
All right. Well, next up, something that's definitely not middle of the road. Clivitas.
Oh, hey, this is the biggest one Crunchyroll's trying to push.
Yeah. This is also pretty dark. You're going to see a lot of death in this anime, and even at times, technically, some unaliving of oneself. And attempted and actual assault and sexual assault. This one has a fair number of flags in it. It is very dark fantasy. But here we go.
貴様がハイデンの王だな。
魔獣をクレバです。
答えよ。なぜ我が死を望んだ。
獣には理解できまい。
我が四大魔獣。エドセアの南の果てを滑る月光のクレバテス。
我はクレバテス。人族すべてを殺すと決めた。
この赤き至高の鋼とその誇りに誓って奴を必ず倒す。
勇者の称号を得た者に託される伝説の武器。
この後も我が血を脅かすというのであれば一度確かめてみねばなるまい。
なんだその姿。
こやつも我にも人の世界を歩くには名がいる。我はクレ、ウヌはルナだ。これが勇者としての私の最後の使命だ。テレビアニメ「クレバテス魔獣の王と赤子と屍の勇者」7月より放送開始。ルナのクソは洗い流せたかと聞いている。そこ拭き残してる。もっと丁寧に。力を入れすぎだ。赤くなってる。指の間もちゃんとやれ。今度は力の
中身があれなくせにいちいち細かい。
本当に綺麗なのであろうな。
こいつは私のママ母が。
I'll be pretty disappointed if this doesn't get future seasons.
Yeah, so we were kind of alluding to earlier with the shonen style. While this is technically Berserk counts as a shonen too. Doesn't feel like it should with how
dark fantasy shonen.
Yeah, this gets as brutal as probably that does on several levels. This is also going to be the shonen to beat this season, not counting all the season 2s. We're kidding. The premise and concept of the main character antagonist, I don't know. It's I don't know.
It's questionable who the protagonist is in this show.
Yeah, because you're seeing it through the eyes of kind of the dark lord of evil monsters, but you're also seeing a bit of humanity, but also at its worst at the start. This definitely is going to be one to watch.
Oh yeah, the quality of this show is very high. And not just in terms of animation, but writing and everything as well. And I love the traditional fantasy vibes that we get from like the ending theme and stuff too.
Yeah. A little piece of me almost wants to throw this into must watch.
I feel like this is the kind of thing that Must Watch is there for.
Yeah, okay, I can definitely see that. It's good overall. I don't want to spoil too much on this one, but that trailer basically showed off what felt like the majority of the first 10 minutes of the show, but it doesn't feel rushed. This is the dark fantasy, the humanity at its not last rope, but struggling to assert its dominance in the world, different clashing factions, the underbelly of like bandits. There's so many good concepts in this show, and they are so well written and tying so well together, leaving you with even characters who feel like they're in complete and utter control of the thing are blindsided by things in this world that like, whoa, that's a thing, really?
Indeed. And the show in general does a great job of exploring humanity itself as a topic and like the human condition and the human psyche. So it's just very well done from multiple fronts. I will say that the trailer made it seem like the trailer kind of lies to you a little bit. I won't give you a lot of details because it's kind of spoilers in some cases, but the show definitely isn't as combat focused as it makes it seem, which is why I personally hadn't even really kind of classified it in my mind as a shonen, but I think that kind of fits. It's just not a very action-oriented shonen, even though it does have some very solid combat in it.
Well, that's kind of the berserk point I like to make. Everyone thinks of that series as this glorious demon fighting action romp, and there's a lot more personal, a lot more humanity-driven stories than this. Granted, it's ended with those big battle scenes and crazy action, but that's not the big draw. That's the icing on the cake. What you dig into this show are the characters, the humanity or lack thereof. Everything shows.
It's a callback to a style of show that we haven't really seen much of in a while.
Especially on these faster seasonal-based animes. That's part of the reason we are both really wanting to hope this gets more seasons. Just from how well everything seems to do. How good the world building in this is already as well.
Oh yeah, the world building is excellent. Okay, next up, we have the show that I have to give every possible content warning I can think of to, except from what I've seen so far, there's no sexual assault yet.
Okay, wait,
I hope it stays that way.
Hold on, Yuki. Is this the really dark show from the season?
Yes, it is.
I would like to end on that. It might be a bit to put that at the very back, but I don't feel like anything after that's going to be. I don't want to say relevant,
it does feel like a fitting show to end on. In that case, we will be instead temporarily diverting into the looter shows for the season. You're going to see a lot of Yuri going on here.
Yeah.
But this season doesn't have a lot of overt nudity or anything like that. Probably related to the huge censorship push we're seeing right now. However, these are definitely by far the most sexualized shows of the season. So first up, we have Bad Girl, which is a High Dive original.
私の名前はユータに言う。大きなピアス、そしてド派手なツートーンヘア。誰もが道を開ける名の知れた不良娘。今日から私はバッドガール。あの子ちっちゃくて可愛い。髪ピンクだ。中学生。今日も元気にドカンを決めたらヨーラン背負ってリーゼント。私悪い子です。バスの中で昆布飴食べるし、うなこぼちゃ飲むし、窓に落書きするし。あなた可愛いからこれは2人だけの秘密にしましょう。すずちゃんの見た目が羨ましいよ。ところどころ見え隠れするからの悪さ。 ナチュラルボーンアウトロー。
喧嘩売ってんのかこいつ。
ルーは超可愛いでしょ。特別にありがとうございます。なんなのもう。私ここの一匹狼なので。
犬が喋っちゃダメよ。返事は
よく見るとただのクリップ。
どうぞ。あの子が噂の。
あなたの出る幕はありません。
雪吊りの関係よ。
言い方。このままではいずれ死に至るのは明々白々。可愛いよね。
ぶっ飛ばします。
見ててください先輩。このユータに言うの大悪行は料金すべて10円玉で出す。
ダサ。
テレビアニメバッドガール。ツッパリハイスクールだけど。
Unfortunately, this was one of the shows that hit my I'm gonna finish this up just before we start shows.
Yeah, this show is definitely like cute girls doing cute things, very heavy Yuri bait. It's minor spoilers, but this is the kind of show where the senpai that the main character wants to have notice her buys her a collar and dog ears to wear by the end of the first episode. And it really just kind of continues in that vein. That said, it's not a very explicit show. It's very much more about like cute humor that goes along with those kinds of interactions than it is about like serious sexual connotations. But I did opt to put it in this category because it does keep coming up with like very BDSM heavy stuff to throw in, including obviously pet play. But there's clearly like a multifaceted lesbian romance love triangle thing, or some kind of rhombus or something being
The
built
rhombus
here.
of Yuri. But one episode on that one, or does that take a little bit more to get into?
I mean, you really don't get all the characters introduced by the end of the first episode, but you definitely know what kind of show it is by the end of the first episode.
Okay, then.
So I think one episode is probably fine for this.
Okay, then we are down to our last three. What do we have next, Yuki?
Final three. Next up is another one of those YouTube original shows, or YouTube exclusive, I should say. Depending on your region, I understand it's actually a Prime exclusive in some regions, but at least in the US, this seems to be a YouTube exclusive and not available on Prime. The show is There's No Freaking Way I'll Be Your Lover Unless. And again, heavy Yuri bait here. Not just bait, there's that straight up Yuri here. You're gonna see some straight up like sex going on between these characters, but it's not very graphic.
昔から人気者とか人に好かれることに憧れてた。
やっぱずっと一緒は無理。どんなに頑張ったって私はコミュ障の陰キャなんだ。私落ちる。
私は大勢の輪に入って人と話すのが苦手でして。
友達になろう、レナ君。本当の友達に。
友達になろう、大塚さん。
すまない。どうやら私は君を一人の女性として好きになってしまったようだ。
やばい。待って待って、友達はどこ行ったの？無理でしょ、無理。私は友達としてあんたのことが好きなの。
君の顔を思い浮かべていると胸のドキドキが収まらなくてな。気づいたんだ、君が好きだと。
急に褒められても笑顔ぐらいしか出ないよなんて。
惚れたか、あの女に。やめといた方がいいとだけ言っておくわ。
レナチンも舞のこと好きでしょ。なんか偉い。
やはり両思いだったか。
違うから、そんな関係はお断り。私が恋人になれるわけないじゃん。
今日はこれで我慢しておくとしよう。
昔から
Yeah, this show answers the question, what if Bochi was a straight up lesbian polycule anime?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not catch this one at all.
Yeah, those YouTube releases, you just didn't get around to, huh?
Well, there was some problems going on, but yeah, that and I wasn't entirely sure if they were gonna be legit or not this season. It's odd with how they're doing all of that, and I just kind of missed out on them. I will definitely be catching them later on, though.
Definitely worthwhile. It's a very interesting show.
Yep.
Good animation quality, by the way. Solid character interactions. There's like some really really good stuff going on there in terms of like characters rejecting advances and how that is treated and things of that nature that feel much more adult and realistic than we usually see in these kinds of series. But that said, these are high school characters, so again, if sexual situations involving high schoolers is something that you are offended by, you might want to give this series a pass.
Yeah. All right. How many episodes do you say you need to watch for this one?
You pretty much know what you're getting into by episode 1, but I think to really, really feel like how far this show goes, you probably need to give it at least 2 episodes.
Gotcha. Episode 2, it is.
All right. Next up, we have Wataru-kun's beep is about to collapse.
ナオくん、渡くん、お兄ちゃん、ナオくん。
俺がいないと鈴はダメで。なんだよ、それ。
覚えててくれた。簡単に許してもらおうなんて思わないもん。
だいたいお前が危険な姿でうろうろしてるから。
渡くん、どこか遊びに行かない？ナオくん怒っちゃった？
ボーボーだけどな。
ナオくん、渡くん、お兄ちゃん。ナオくん見つけた。
Did you catch any of this one, 18?
No, unfortunately, this was also going to be one of the last ones I watched, at least episode 1 of today. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, I was thoroughly confused by that trailer, though.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most explicit shows of the season. You've got like a character tackling someone and forcibly kissing them in episode 1. You've got like almost vaguely yandere stalker childhood best friend girl. You've got the brother and much younger little sister who definitely have complexes for each other. So watch out for that if that's something that's bothersome to you. And that's not where it ends. There's more characters involved in this crazy, weird, messed up harem-ish situation. The overall quality of the show isn't super, super high. It's maybe average-ish at best. But it's interesting to see where it's going because it seems like every character has some kind of secret, and they're not letting us know what those are.
Yeah.
I've seen all the episodes that are out of this. I think you'll get a pretty good taste for like understanding the show by episode 1. But it's very much that like ecchi comedy kind of show with some more dark undertones to it that could come out later.
All right, this is another 1-episoder.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, and with that, we are on to our final show. Now, before we start talking about this one or show the trailer for it, every yearly content warning you can have. What I was saying, I was planning on watching a bit more today, but could not. I caught the first episode of this show, and I spent the next hour just in self-care mode afterwards. And even then, I still wasn't okay. This basically delayed our entire stream for today by about an hour as I tried to recover from watching this damn show.
I will tell you also, this show gets more messed up as it goes. Episode 1, very similar to Agent. It left me just like random tears for hours after I watched it. And it gets more messed up. That is not the extent of it. This is the most dark, bleak, hopeless, it's both the darkest and most emotionally impactful thing I have seen.
Yep, let's pull up the...
Yeah, here we go. But yes, every content warning. The only thing I haven't seen, as I was saying earlier, yet at least, is sexual assault.
そこに誰かいるの? 僕はハッピー星人。宇宙にハッピーを広めるため旅をしてるっぴ。捕獲されそうになるし、食べ物もないしで大変だったっぴ。そんな時、静香ちゃんが助けてくれたんだっぴ。名前はなんていうの? 好きなように呼んでくれて構わないっぴ。じゃあタコピー。じゃあもう帰るね。また明日。僕が今度こそ君をものすごい笑顔にしてみせるっぴ。
Holy, oof. Yeah, that trailer
This
makes
show
me feel
begins with a warning, and you should heed it.
Yeah, so the basic premise of this show is the young child animes of, hey, your life isn't going so good. Let's throw a magical creature in here that'll bring you with all these wacky gadgets and adventures and make you feel better. There are some people in life that's not like a little fun buddy is not going to do a lot of good. That your problems are so deep, so traumatic, and so ingrained into your daily life that you can't even a glimmer of pure hopefulness and light does nothing to illuminate it. And this show is that to a T. This hits you on...
Taco P, flying won't help me at all. It won't fix any of my problems.
Yeah, it's a show about a child whose life is in such an emotionally distraught and bad place that even the simple joy of doing some of the most fun childish aspects are worthless to them. And I don't know how to just go from there.
Yeah, so a big portion of the show also is this juxtaposition of the aliens' perspective against what's going on in the lives of the human, because they come from a paradise planet, a true utopia, and they truly cannot conceive of there being a worse crime than someone stealing your happiness pudding or eating it on accident. They do not understand at all the depths of trauma and pain and suffering that can happen in the human condition, to the point where they simply do not have the context to understand them. Yeah, I really don't want to spoil this show for anyone. This show is so amazingly good. I feel like it definitely has to be put in the must-watch category, even though I have to do that with the caveat that, please, I sincerely beg of you, if you are not in a good place emotionally, do not watch this show. It will destroy you. And I mean that in a very real sense.
Even if you are in a fairly good spot or coming into this not in a bad day or kind of in a happy mood, this will fucking break you over the head. Like I said, it's like I watched episode 1 of this. I just sat down. I turned off. I didn't let anything else play. I went upstairs. I grabbed myself a snack and just talked to my roommate for like a half hour, just venting and decompressing after this. Just from how hard that hit me. And you telling me episode 2 is worse. That legitimately scares me.
And not only that, but I have it on good authority that each episode is consistently worse than the one before it. I have not myself managed to watch past episode 2 yet. As much as I love this anime and feel like it is absolutely a work of art, the reality is I have to be so careful about when I watch this because I know how much of an emotional impact it's going to have on me and how it is going to render me incapable of being in public for potentially hours after I watch it. That it's very hard for me to find a time slice to watch this show, and also needing to be in a good space mentally and emotionally, because otherwise, this show puts you in a relatively bad place when you're in a good place. If you are in a bad place when you watch this show or are, suffering from severe trauma or mental illness, this show could very well break you.
Yeah, if you want a good cry though, this is the show for let you feel emotions and everything. Definitely on that one, but the end of season review on that's going to be something at the very least.
I will throw out there that this show is only 6 episodes long, and that's probably for the better because I'm pretty sure anything beyond that would both involve in the plot and also qualify as a war crime.
Yeah, but I think with this we have our list, the 1 episode feels, the 2s and the 3s, as well as 2 must-watch. I think this is the most must-watches we've ever had that don't come with a pedigree too.
I feel like we may have had at least one season where we had 3 must-watches.
I think you might be right on that one, but normally, yeah.
It is unusual for us. Like, we have a lot of seasons where we don't even have one must-watch show.
Yeah. But with that, we are going to send you guys off. Once again, this will be posted up in our Discords as well as social media platforms. Yuki, I believe I picked last time. Would you like to pick where we're heading tonight?
Yeah, let me see who we've got available. Oops. Apparently I clicked the wrong thing.
But other than that, I believe Yuki will be back tomorrow, if not later tonight. I should be back Thursday at the earliest. I'm going to try to put into a Monday or Tuesday stream back with Final Fantasy 8, but yeah, I've got a lot going on, and I don't know if I'll have the energy for that, but I am trying.
All right, I'll let you pick between 2. I've got Hybrid VT and Swimming Link available.
I got Swimming Link. We can go over there.
Sounds good. And thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and hope to see you all again next time. Matini!
Yep, make sure to check out our end of season review to see where everything eventually falls. But later.